Welcome, everybody, to Canton Chronicles Sunday Night Live. I am your host, John Camo, also known on Twitter, or X as they call it, as Dixie Enormous. And with me is...
Eric DiGirolamo, and happy Mother's Day to all the Kronk moms out there.
Yes, happy Mother's Day. Yeah, to all.
How's your Mother's Day going, John?
I didn't talk to her this year. I didn't give her a call. Yeah, unfortunately, we're no longer on speaking terms, so I didn't call her because she hates me, according to all the anti Karen Reeds. And no, she's passed away. Okay, so. No.
Hopefully, Detective Mullins' Mother's Day was fantastic.
Yes, well. Detective Mullins' Mother's Day was great. We got flowers. We went to breakfast. There was a lot of stuff going on today. Happy Mother's Day, like I said, and Eric, to all the Kronks and the non-Kronks. Anyone watching us, happy Mother's Day. Tonight, we're going to be talking about Kelly Dever. We're going to be talking about Brian Higgins, Brian Albert. We're going to be talking about C.F. McCarthy's The Waterfall. We're going to be talking about the war or the conflict or whatever we're calling it over in the Middle East. And we're going to be doing it with Grant Smith Ellis. Hello, Grant Smith Ellis.
Hello, gentlemen. Good to see you.
Hey, Grant. Good to see you, buddy.
Grant, it's been 6 months since you've been on. It's been a while, and
the towel groundhog saw a shadow.
Yeah. What's been going on in Grant's world?
Oh, not very much. I might be graduating from law school this week. That would be a great development. We'll find out tomorrow if it's going to be approved, but I would be thrilled. Let's see, I've had 2 days off for the first time in 65 days. I'm slowly getting my wits about me, as they may say, and I'm glad to be having a conversation with you two to do so.
Oh, that's great. Grant, I got two questions for you. The first one's on the screen. Mazza wants to know if Deitch is my pick. And that's kind of funny because Deitch is Adam Deitch, my pick, because the guy right here on this screen actually did a poll.
Yes, I did.
Go ahead. Tell us about your poll.
Sure. So I've done a couple polls. I've been doing soft, unofficial towel polling, putting towel polls in the field. They're very unofficial. Now, on X, I've been getting some feedback that my polls might be reaching an audience that is not Norfolk County. And on most of the polls that I run, I find that Adam Deitch for the September 2026 Norfolk DA primary polls 85 to 95%, 85 to 93%. So I thought to myself, I should take this to a local Facebook group that is in Norfolk County that I already participate in. Maybe I've written some stories about Sandra Birchmore, Karen Reed, John O'Keefe in that group. So I thought, okay, let me do it. It's not your group, full disclosure. So I went to this group and I made a poll. And no push polling involved at all. I just said, who would you vote for if the September 2026 primary for Norfolk County DA were held today? Adam Deitch, DeJuana, I think it's DeJunta, I don't know.
DeJuana Perkins.
Oh, okay. You can see how I would get it confused there. A junta is a very common, term in war, so I just get things confused. And then Greg Conner, or who I call Michael Morrissey Jr. Yes. And that one polled at 93% for Deitch, 3% for Greg Conner, 1% for Perkins, and 1% for others.
Look at that. And look, Maz is saying even if you have a 25 to 30% margin of error, he's still polling at 60%. So,
And people got to go out and vote, but you can just see the visceral reaction from the Norfolk DA stoolies to Adam Deitch, and that tells you all you need to know. Like a negative endorsement from the people who back the Norfolk DA and that state police unit is the perfect sign that Adam Deitch is who you should vote for. Every negative post by a supporter of the Norfolk DA or the state police about Deutsch is another 10 votes for him. It's great.
Yep. Let's get back to tomorrow's news. I saw that there was some funds that are associated with tomorrow, correct?
Tomorrow? You're going to have to give me some more context.
With your news. Here, let me put it up. For folks at home.
Oh, yes.
Grant.
So,
yes.
Yes. I need some help with my law school tuition. It turns out like 3 of my credits were never paid for, despite someone who shall remain unnamed promising to pay for them. So if you want to help me get my JD, and maybe you think, just because Grant's willing to call out the corruption in the state police and the Norfolk DA, that doesn't mean he should get sabotaged and not get his JD by a certain person who shall remain unnamed, but may have a close connection to Michael Proctor's uncle-in-law, then you can follow the link to the GoFundMe. God bless you.
When you mean close connection, you mean dating, right?
I can't confirm that, but he hangs out in my house on Friday night. I stare at him and I shit talk Brian Tully.
Okay, so maybe not dating, but watching Netflix and chilling.
I don't think she knows how to operate Netflix, but yeah, TV and chill. How about that?
Okay. TV and chill. Yeah. Okay. So, folks, we try not to ask for a lot here, but if you have a couple bucks and
help out a friend,
you want to send it off, help out a friend. He's a friend of the Kronks. He's always been nice to us. And Babs, look at the bottom of the screen. It's www.GoFundMe, manage, help Grant achieve his law school dream. So there you go. That's how you help Grant. We'll leave that up.
John, you might need to leave that up for a little while. That's kind of long.
I know. Grant, you don't pass with certain grades, do you? I didn't go to law school. I mean, there are lawyers and judges in my family, but I wasn't one of them. So is there a grade that you pass with?
I muted my mic. I'm sorry. I was letting people know I couldn't drop the link in the chat because I'm not a mod, but someone might be able to. So I made Dean's List, I think like 4 or 5 times. You got to maintain a certain GPA depending on your scholarship, and then you have to pass. You can't get D's and expect to graduate. They'll put you on probation. So you got to get C's or above. I think I got mostly all A's and B's. My GPA was pretty strong. It was above a 3.2 or 3. It was good. It was hard. A's in law school are really hard to get. I got 1 or 2 C's. I forget which class. Oh, Civ Pro, I got a C+ in. That was a really hard class, but mostly A's and B's.
What law school?
New England Law in Boston. It's a working class law school. It's actually the nation's.
It's no Suffolk. That's not a Suffolk law school.
It was hard. It was the nation's first law school for women. So they really pushed us. I worked very hard there. It's really hard to get through. I think starting my 1L, maybe 60% of the 1L class got through to 2L.
Did they know that at one time you wanted to be a priest? Instead, you're going to be a lawyer?
Yeah, so when I applied, they knew I wrote about in my application, I think, going to graduate school, becoming disabled, not really being able to live up to my vocation. So I was always a unique student. I wasn't the oldest student by any means. There were some students that were 50, 60 years old. But I had a unique path for sure.
What's the plan if everything goes well tomorrow?
A JD is a doctorate and it allows you to teach. So I would like to teach or just continue doing my YouTube coverage of the war, but then I would have the JD. So teaching would be an option.
Nice.
Okay. In 4 minutes or less, give us your update on the conflict. 4 minutes
Oh,
or less.
certainly. So on, what was it, February 28th? It was actually February 26th. I was covering President Trump's State of the Union address. And I said, oh, he's going to bomb them in like 48 hours. So I went live for 24 hours starting on February 28th into March 1st. And then I went live every single day since then for 65 days in a row. And it got to the point where I was able to like see a missile alert coming in to either like North Israel or Tel Aviv or Beersheba in the south, get videos of the missile as it was flying over the occupied Palestinian territories or Jordan or Syria or Iraq, then get the footage of the missile actually hitting. And I was able to do that for every single missile that was fired in the war. I could track where it hit, when it hit, and then I was able to relay that to people in real time. And I like to think I made an impact on coverage of the war. I really broke a lot of blackouts that different countries were trying to impose just by sheer just brute forcing the primary source clips. Then I was able to actually, I think the most interesting part is I started to figure out the Iranians were timing their launches. What they would do is they would launch from the west of Iran over northern Iraq, near kind of Erbil and Mosul. Then they'd go through kind of Jordan near Aleppo, and then they'd come down through Lebanon. And that's why the south of Lebanon, if you've been hearing about it, has been such an intense like zone of conflict, because actually Iran needs Hezbollah, which is one of their proxies in the region, to take down Israeli air defenses in order to be able to send the missiles through Lebanon and hit Tel Aviv. The craziest and most concerning thing about Iran is they have these missiles. Not only do they have regular like cruise missiles and hypersonic missiles, they have something called a Khorram-Sharrar missile, which travels at Mach 8 in the atmosphere. For comparison, our fastest fighter jets go Mach 2.5. When it gets to 7 kilometers above the target, it opens up and releases 80 bomblets that the Iron Dome can't intercept. And so that was the most terrifying thing about the war, knowing that the Iranians were going to time their missile launches to prayer in the holy city, and that they were going to get through every time. And just so folks understand, to wrap it up, Iran is like a baseball team. They're like the Red Sox. They have a AAA affiliate, which is Hezbollah, the Mujahideen for the Islamic resistance in Lebanon. They have a AA affiliate, though, that would be the Houthis in Yemen. They have a single A affiliate, that would be the Blood Guardians or the Mujahideen for the Islamic resistance in Iraq. They all have 50 to 100,000 intense missiles. They have all of their stockpiles, and they're waiting to re-engage this conflict at a moment's notice. They won handily, and they made us look terrible. And it loathes me to say that.
Great. You have a lot of love in our chat. I just want to let you know. And people love your breakdowns of the war. I love your breakdowns of court when you I love how you'll make your first, you don't just keep changing posts. You'll sub post right under your original post. It makes it easy for me so I can follow along. I don't have to keep refreshing or going to another post. I really think that your reporting on just about everything is you are a very good towel.
Grant, there's I'll be at home at night watching your show, and my wife will come in from work after I get home, and she'll be like, "You watching that guy again?" I'm like, "Yeah." She's like, "Well, what are you watching that for?" And she just, she'd just move along, go about her business, and then all of a sudden, Grant, you'd start speaking Spanish, and she would stop dead in her tracks and go, "Huh, he speaks Spanish too."
Wait. Hey, Eric, have Grant say something to the missus. Grant, can you say something to Eric's missus, please, in Spanish? Well, can you unmute your mic before you do that?
Sí, tengo que explicar en español para tu novia. Tengo un amigo, se llama Francisco, y cuando Francisco se llegara a mi chat en YouTube, me gusta decir al Francisco en español, y puedo hablar en español un poco, y puedo entender español un poco también. Alguien, cuando Francisco llegaran a mi chat, me gusta practicar mi español todos los días. Sí.
There you go.
I'm gonna have to clip that and play it back for her later, and she'll have to tell me what you said.
Hey,
I
Eric,
said my.
Go ahead. Go ahead. Go ahead.
I'll tell you quickly. But I said my
Translate.
friend Francisco comes into the chat in YouTube and he gets a personalized update in Spanish so I can practice my Spanish. I speak a little Spanish and understand a little bit as well.
My wife said your Spanish was very good.
Poquito.
Oh,
Yeah.
de nada.
Oh, yeah, I know Spanish too, Eric.
I don't. I know
Oh my
cerveza.
God.
Baño, por
Chupacabra.
favor.
Chupacabra.
Chupacabra.
El baño.
Yeah, baño. Yeah. Cerveza, por favor. That's all I need to know. And
So I have to do this. I have to cut into our regular schedule program because it's been a long time since we've had one of these, and it's not like we don't ask for it. But since it's there, you know what? You gotta get a. I don't know. We have so much to choose from. Let's give him the. Let's give him. Because we're going to be talking about Sean Good later. Thank you for the thank you, Babs Bunny, and go Grant. Absolutely, go Grant. All right. Well, let's get into the stuff that we were going to bring up with Grant tonight. I want to start with a part of the lawsuit that a lot of people are talking about. I made a couple posts on Twitter, and you get the people that see it, and then you get the people that it doesn't matter what I'm going to post, they're going to hate it. So the O'Keefe lawsuit is trying to hold both CF McCarthy's and the Waterfall responsible. And I'm sitting there, and immediately I'm thinking, wait a minute. That makes it a problem when CF McCarthy's she left there, and nobody has testified that she appeared drunk, that she anything like that. So there's Massachusetts, and this is why we have Grant. There's a dram shop law, and it holds licensed alcohol vendors, bars, restaurants, liquor stores liable for injuries caused by intoxicated patrons if they are negligently served to people that are clearly intoxicated or a minor. And victims can recover damages for medical bills, lost wages, pain and suffering within a 3-year statute of limitations. But there's a liability threshold. Establishments are liable if they served alcohol to a person who was already clearly intoxicated. So that would be the Waterfall. If she went into the Waterfall and she was clearly intoxicated and they served her, then that would be the liability for the Waterfall. And it goes back to CF McCarthy's. How would CF McCarthy's know that when she left there, if she's okay when she leaves there, they don't know if she's going home, if she's going to another bar, if she's going to a house party. They don't know where she's going. So my question was going to be is, how can CF McCarthy's be held responsible? They're going to be like, how are we supposed to know that they leave here? That's going to be a real argument that that they could say in this lawsuit. What say you, Grant?
Well, I think to begin, I'm not a lawyer, thank God, and this is not legal advice. But as analysis by a lay towel. Right. So the first thing is to understand what realm are we in? We've shifted from the criminal court here to civil court, right? So that means we're talking about torts. What is a tort? And before we even get into dram shop liability, let's just talk about a tort. A tort is where you're alleging that someone has done you wrong and you want to recover monetary damages. At a very basic level, a tort requires a duty, a breach of the duty, the proximate cause between the breach of the duty and the damages, and then damages. All right, so we have 4 elements of a tort. That's the basic sort of framework we're working within. Dram shop liability is a tort. Now, within torts, I'm not a lawyer, this is not legal advice. You can have various degrees of liability. Liability is like how you analyze the mental state of the person. And here the person is a corporation. It's a fiction. It's a legal fiction, but it still can think through its agents. What the mental state of the party you're accusing of a wrong needs to be is in the statute. So here we have a recklessness statute. So you need recklessness is the standard for breach. So you have to have a statutorily imposed duty that comes from dram shop liability. It can also come from common law. Then you got to breach the duty. There's a bunch of shortcuts to breach, but here, like the breach is arguably there's a standard of negligence, and you're arguing that the bar did not act in a way that a reasonably prudent person would have acted under those circumstances. Then the next element is proximate cause. You're talking, when you start talking about Karen leaving the bar, you're talking about supervening events. There has to be a causal chain between the conduct of the actor you're alleging committed the tortfeasor, and the damages. And if the causal chain breaks due to a supervening event, which is a legal term of art, then there's no liability for that tortfeasor. But there can be joint and several liability as well. You can contribute. We in this state have, I think it's a 51% rule. There's contributory negligence. A lot of different actors can contribute to negligence. The party, like the subject, other people. But your real question with Karen leaving CF McCarthy's and going to the waterfall is that a supervening event that absolves or obviates CF McCarthy's liability? But again, we might not even get there, because the first question is, did CF McCarthy's through its agent act in a way that a reasonably prudent person would have acted under those circumstances? And if the answer to that is yes, then you don't have to ask about the causal chain. The claim fails.
Yep. Now, stay with me, because you're going to continue. Then the waterfall can say, the receipts from the waterfall show one drink, right? It doesn't show a massive drinking binge. All of the witnesses testified that the interactions there were normal. There was no arguments. Everybody was in a good mood. Nobody testified that she was visibly intoxicated. And the waterfall can say, hey, we don't know what happened before she arrived here. So then that's their argument, that the waterfall would be putting forward. Unmute.
Oh, sorry. Whatever one has the video of her doing the car bombs, that's the one that's going to have more trouble, I think, surviving or getting out of the claim. I think it's still tough, but if like car bombs are not on the menu and you're letting her drop shots into a drink on the counter, I mean, I wouldn't allow it. So,
and you actually worked at Fenway Park.
I worked at a lot of different places doing alcohol compliance. And I mean, I'm just a layperson, but I know this is a different question than the regulatory schema for licensed dram shops. We're now talking about torts, but I would never in a million years allow a patron to drop shots into a drink unless it was on the menu.
Grant, be kind, be gentle, make peace, wants to know, when are you sitting for the bar exam?
No chance am I subjecting myself to a disciplinary body. I will teach. I don't need to do that. I want to write law. I write laws. I wrote a lot of statutes in this state, helped implement their regulatory codification. I oversee government. I don't want to be subject to a disciplinary board.
There you go. Eric, you got anything?
I had a lot earlier. Are we going to get into the good stuff?
Yeah, we're going to get
Is that on the agenda?
GOODE?
Yeah, I know we didn't write a script, so I didn't know.
I have one. What are you talking about? I write one every week.
You told me there was no script.
Oh, come on.
We're winging it.
How many pages? No, I'm not winging it. What do you think? I got 12 pages. I got 12 pages, nice. Eric. Yeah. Grant. You think I'm just going to come here and just spitball when we have Grant in front of us?
Well, it's great. All you got to do is ask him a quick question, and he'll go on for 4 or 5
I
minutes,
know,
and we'll
and
be
we're
all
gonna.
set.
And I know. And what's the over under on how many he's gonna roll tonight?
I think it's number
This-
3, and
that-
it's only 26 minutes in.
No, that's number 2 with us. It's number 2. Hey, Grant, next time you come on, I want those all pre-rolled. Okay, you're gonna pre-roll them. You know.
Grant, what do you think's taking the good situation so long? We're on 7 months now.
Yeah.
What took 4 years for the text about blank on blank in Canton Day to come out? When it's derogatory, they fight real hard to keep it quiet.
And
Yeah. Go ahead, Eric.
the way the state police and Canton police intermingle on this, do you think that these text messages are going to involve quite a few members of law enforcement from both agencies, or?
These towns are so rhetorically incestuous that if you told me Matthew Farwell's mom grew up in Canton, as did his wife, it wouldn't surprise me.
You see a lot of movement between town, a town cop, state cop. They all live, they all live close by. They all grew up, there's crossovers there, and we're going to see that Goody and Proctor were a lot closer than anybody actually thought.
Probably known each other for decades at this point, right?
For a long, long time. Yeah. Yep.
Yeah, I wonder if they went to Amelia's. I heard it's really a nice restaurant.
Hey, Grant, Emily sees a towel. And
she is.
Yeah. So I want to put this on the record, Emily. It's not because of time constraints. Well, it is because of time constraints, I should say. I don't watch as many shows as I did the last couple of years. Since the trial's been over, there's been, other things going on in my life, and the nice weather's got here, and I got my motorcycle on the road. There's just a lot of stuff going on, so I don't watch many other YouTube shows. Emily, I watched your show yesterday. It was amazing. You had a great guest on, and we can't wait to see more. And we'll leave that there. So, yeah. Grant, do you think what are your opinions on the whole Miles King part of this? I mean, because everything's intertwined. So, what are your thoughts on the whole Miles King stuff?
It was really nice of Leah Foley's office to clean up Michael Proctor's mess. There were some defendants that Michael Proctor, in my opinion, framed, and there were some that he was legitimately investigating because, they sell drugs and have large capacity weapons. And if you have an investigator on a murder case with really bad texts, I bet a Norfolk County jury, at least one of them, is going to acquit. So if you're the feds, what do? Well, this guy gets out on bail, Miles King, from a Norfolk County rap 8 months ago, immediately posts himself in a Sprinter van with $20,000 cash. The feds set him up clearly and do 3 controlled buys where he sells 28 blanks of blank 3 different times in March and April of 2026 in Weymouth ×2 and Falmouth ×1, respectively. And then they bang him and all his boys up on a federal indictment that's going to see him put away for life. Because they had to clean up Proctor's mess.
You're pretty confident that he might have had a really good chance of getting off based on, in the state case, based on what Proctor's actions were.
And this dude's so flagrant, and he thinks Norfolk County's so weak that he's out there moving. I don't know if people understand what it means to move 28 blanks of blank at once. It was freebase. He was moving zips on multiple occasions. That's crazy. 5 grams will put you away for like 10 to 15 years. He was moving 28 at a time.
That's a lot of volume right there. Well, sometimes this is all these people know. this is all this is all they know, and they get free and they go back to that world.
Rosemary
need a couple-
Scapiccio doesn't come cheap.
No,
No,
he might
Yeah.
need a couple more lawyers too.
he might be.
He'll get
he might
federal.
a
He'll get
GoFundMe.
federal. He'll get federal public defenders. Practicing in the federal system is really, really hard. You don't buy. You just get a federal public defender.
Yeah. Yeah, she's probably thinking I was so close, and this knucklehead just couldn't keep it together. Yep.
He'll
So
never see the light of day again.
Ah.
He'll be held. He'll never see the light of day again. I think if he goes into BOP WITSEC, he's cooperating against Proctor. There's already a cooperating informant in the Miles King case. You get what's called a 5.01K reduction in your sentence. I think they need him, and they can only really protect him if he's inside. The BOP has a Bureau of Prisons has a WITSEC program. He's a good candidate for it.
wow.
Miles is?
Yeah, he's a great candidate for it, especially because of what he knows.
Well, what benefits will that entail for him?
Well, you can look up some names in this, but if you're not in BOP WITSEC and you go to Hazleton, you'll last 24 hours. Ask Whitey. If you are in WITSEC, you'll last a long time. Ask Stevie Fleming.
Mm-hmm.
The rifleman. Yeah. So Grant, I want to play a short clip for everybody, and I want Grant's take on this too. So I recently met a local tradesman whose specialty is bulkhead doors. He installs them, repairs them, works around them constantly, and he has for the last couple of years had his own theory. He looked at the injuries, the ripped clothing, the basement bulkhead area, and he knows exactly what bulkhead was at 34 Fairview. He knows he knows the area. He's from the area. And so his opinion was that John O'Keefe's pants may have been ripped while someone was trying to maneuver or drag him out the bulkhead area, or he was coming out the bulkhead area, however it is. And that the center handle or hardware on the bulkhead door may potentially explain the head wound. So I want to make this crystal clear to everyone. We're not saying this is what happened. It's his theory. But it's coming from someone whose entire profession revolves around these doors and how they physically move. So when you start looking at the shape of some of the hardware, the confined space, the angles involved, and the condition of his clothing, you can understand why he's asking the same questions and coming up with some theories on this. So, so what I want for the people that are watching us and that aren't watching the Forensic Four right now, to as you watch this, come up with, does this theory hold water to you? Does this hold water? And could these injuries be confined, consistent with a confined space rather than a vehicle, which we know it wasn't a vehicle. So let's bring this up. Let's bring up, and it's just, this isn't the whole interview. This is just some clips. So let's bring this up. Hold on. Let's make sure. Here we go. Right, here we go.
I'm going to walk you through my theory of John's body being exited through the bulkhead. He went through a metal bulkhead with a single door, single lift. The locking system is what we need to be concerned about. 34 Fairview, the cellar entry is what we call a three-piece cellar entry unit. The actual staircase is 62 inches deep. Then it has a steel apron, and that's 8 to 9 inches, depending on who fabricated it. There were 3 fabricators that I have found through my history that have made these similar designs. Have the single door that flips up. I've done a few bulkheads in the Fairview area, Cedar Crest area, and that area is well known for high water tables. So that leads me to believe there's a sump pump system in that basement. I truly believe the reason why the concrete floor was dug up was because the piping was full of DNA as well as the sump pump. As Alan Jackson came up from the bulkhead, the locking rod was out of the loop. The loop was part of the locking system. That loop was bent in the downward position. So that tells me that when Alan Jackson was coming up, you look at that video and you'll see that loop was around his right-hand pocket. Okay? I believe that the gouge came down from the door. And it looks like a brick surface, but with so much corrosion, it made a chafing bruise until it actually hit and gouged. Now, these are what we call the loops. This is a 1/4 inch rod to a 5/16 rod because it's so corroded. When they come out of the loops, there's a weld on each side. These welds get worn off. That little blob of weld keeps this from going through the loop. But at 34 Fairview, the weld was already worn off from the dragging of the loop. These loops turn oblong, and the rod dropped down. So when the door was open, the locking rod was dangling, and as John O'Keefe came up, it grabbed his right-hand pocket and made a 3-point tear. I have gotten from a job that I did. It's a 3-point tear on the opposite side. Alan Jackson's video, this is the locking rod that came out of the loop. And when John O'Keefe was coming up the stairs, this rod was straight. And it got caught in his back pocket, created a 3-point tear. This locking system is intact, but the weld on 34 Fairview was worn off. The rod came across and dangling down, just as in Jackson's video. It was dangling down straight. When John came up, it got caught in his rear right pocket and caused a 3-point tear, which caused the door to come down on his head. And this handle was like that and gave him the gash in the back of his head. This is a 75-pound lid, weighed, totally weighed. That's like getting hit in the head with a bag of concrete in the back of the head. That impact of that door coming down made the bruising marks then came into the sudden impact of his skull. The locking rod went down into his right pocket as he was on the second or third step up from the bottom. The locking rod went down into his pocket. He was just under the door lid. The door lid came down, and this is where the handle, the back of the handle, would have caused the gash, and he was hit twice with the handle. As the handle turned, it caused that J on the side of the gash. As he came up, the door slammed on his head. There's a weld right here. This handle went oblong. So the J mark in his head, this would have been narrower. This would have been wider on this end. In Alan Jackson's video, it shows that the door is 95% up. That's why these spring-loaded, they're always in the sprung position. That means those springs still had some tension to keep that door lid up. In Alan Jackson's video, looking down the stairs to the entry door, which is a hollow core Lawan door. That's not a weathertight or an insulated door. John never got frostbite. This is why I believe he was in the bulkhead until they decided to figure out what they wanted to do. This is Alan Jackson exiting from the bulkhead. The door is up about 95%, so that tells me the springs still have some action left in them. But the locking rod is in a bent position, meaning that it would have caught John O'Keefe's back pocket, made the three-point tear, pulling down the door because the locking rod was caught in his pants. The door came down, and the handle is what made the gash in the back of John's head.
No, there you go. So that's one person's theory, and before half of the internet loses its mind, we're not saying the bulkhead door did the dirty deed. We're just saying a very experienced tradesman notices some details that other people's overlook, and so this was a tradesman's theory on what may have made that mark in the back of his head.
So, John, I think one of the biggest compelling arguments that his theory makes is the pocket of John's jeans. I mean, I'm sure John didn't go out that night with the ripped
Not
pocket
just
in
that.
that condition. So
Not just that.
how did
The
it get into
hypothermia.
that condition? Well,
Not just that.
I'm just saying,
Hypothermia.
as far as that argument that he's making with the bulkhead, that rod going into
Yep.
his pocket, it makes a lot of sense that tear in that pocket came from something like that. Because certainly I don't think it was the taillight.
Oh, it's definitely not a tail. The tail light didn't rip his pocket.
No.
And they didn't rip his pocket trying to get a phone out of it because the phone was under his shoulder blade.
And certainly with the snow on the ground, even though the ground was hard, if some crazy thing happened like a car and he got thrown back, I'm sure that he would have slid more than had his jeans ripped in that type of manner.
Right. What do you think, Grant?
Well, since we can affirmatively, and I don't mean to make light of this, this was in the trial testimony,
No.
we can affirmatively rule out all animals except for a pack of feral wild pigs. I started from the position of, and let me just take you through my thought process, and then I think you'll actually appreciate where I come to with this. So originally, I was trying to build my whole understanding of this from the perspective of how did John get his injuries from that area of the lawn? But if you start from there, you might miss something. You might try to make things fit that don't make sense. You might try to come up with like random explanations. Where I think this case should have started, just in my opinion, is where did the injuries come from? Not did the injuries come from somewhere near the lawn. Had they approached it that way, I think obviously for reasons that will become clear in hindsight, they didn't approach it this way. But I think that's what would have brought us to a place where this analysis would have been done earlier. And what makes me believe this is two pieces of evidence. One, there's tool marks on some of those taillight pictures. I saw some of the FOIA requests that Emily C. and Kyle have been working on and others. I saw those tool marks on, it's only on some of the pictures, but I saw those black tool marks. Second, there's, I believe, affirmative evidence from 5:38 p.m. Eastern on 1/29/2022 of two individuals, Michael Proctor and an unknown mystery man, near Karen Reed's taillight. I think they broke it then and brought the pieces over to the scene. If you put all of that together, then we don't have an answer for John's injury, and any theory that could potentially explain it is worth listening to. That's where I feel. That's how I feel. It's interesting.
Yeah. I think after watching that video, what could have happened is, as say somebody has them on their shoulders or something, and they're coming up the stairs, and that rod catches on his pocket and it pulls the door down and slams him in his head as they're trying to carry him out. You know, I can see that happen. You know, and then maybe I don't know, panic or whatever you have you. But I've said all
What if
along. Go ahead.
What if I were to tell you I think that there was a plan to isolate John before he came over? The plan
Oh,
was
I-
always
I
to
would
get
agree
him
with you.
there,
Yeah.
but the variable was Karen. He was not supposed to drive over in that car with her. She was supposed to go with someone else, and he was supposed to go with someone else. That's what I believe was the only thing that changed, that variable that changed, that forced them to adapt, whoever them is.
I would agree with you.
It was not a crime of opportunity, in my opinion. It was a setup. And I have reason to believe it had to do with John's unit at the BPD. That unit is not a sex offender registration unit. It is the best undercover child abuse and human trafficking unit in the state. They work everywhere.
Mm-hmm. So talking about the BPD, I'm going off script here, Eric, because Grant brings up so many things and it gets in my head. I think it's about time we play some of the video that you wanted to be talked about, Eric, and then Grant can give us his take on this. So earlier this week, Mike Crawford had the opportunity to sit and interview Boston City Councilor Ed Flynn, and some of his and part of that interview, Kelly Devers' name got brought up, and the O'Keefe's were brought up, and the Boston Police Department. So Eric, we had a little conversation, and we thought for anyone that hasn't seen it, we'd like to show you just a little portion of it, and then after we watch it, we did get permission from Mike Crawford. We're gonna play it. We're gonna come back, and obviously we'll get Grant's take on it first, since he brought up the Boston Police Department. So let me share this. See if I can do this right, because I saw the girls doing it earlier tonight, and they weren't able to share this. Let's see.
John, did they have anything
Yeah.
interesting going on in the show?
It's Mother's Day. I wished them all a happy Mother's Day.
Yeah. Did they
Yeah.
invite you to the party at the Canton Town Club?
No, but somebody in the comments they thought I was going to show up to protest. So I said, you guys have every right in the world to assemble whatever you want to assemble.
Right.
I'm not coming there.
Wait,
But
I
have-
have a question about I have a question about this. So, maybe I just misread it, but is the point of their Juneteenth fundraiser to designate that blank and blank day in Canton? Is that the implicit meaning? I'm just wondering. I was a little taken aback by it myself.
I think it happened to be that day.
Oh, because if I recall, maybe I'm wrong about this, but I think one of the organizers of that event tweeted that the foreperson of Karen's second trial was Uncle Blank. If I could be wrong about that.
Yes.
Yeah, I
Are we
think she
allowed-
did say
yeah.
that.
She did. Yeah, she did say that.
Birds of a feather, as they say.
Let me see if I can pull this up the right way. Okay, so, and then I'm gonna have to see if it comes up.
We're probably gonna hit a commercial or two here, so you're gonna.
Yeah, there might be. Yeah. All right, here we go.
John, you working out the kinks?
Yeah, no audio on this end for me.
There was no audio.
No audio.
All right. See, I did the exact same thing as they did, but I actually said share audio. I did click on that, and this is what happens when you don't when you try to share things from StreamYard. But that's all right. It's not that there's issues. It's how you handle the issues, right?
Yeah, you can overcome.
Absolutely. We'll
You
try
ha-
to
you
get
have the you have skills.
share screen. Share screen.
Yeah, I found sometimes
Right.
just sharing it again
Share
with the
audio.
audio enabled makes it work.
Well, the audio wasn't able. That's the thing. All right, here,
Yeah,
let's try this again.
it's the server gremlins. They're out to get you, John.
Yeah. All right.
Grant,
careful.
don't let me forget. I want to ask you about Tully's no show at the at the what was he doing? Where all the lawyers get to ask him as many questions as they want.
Yeah, his deposition, and he retired 2 years short of a full vested pension. He must have just felt it was his time to retire. You know, that's what most people do. 2 years short of a vested pension.
Imagine that.
Sometimes you got to go. You know.
Yeah, well, you know.
Right.
He was pining for the fjords.
Cease to be. It's still loading for some unforsaken reason. It's that AT&T.
You got a backup plan if you need it. Mike Crawford clipped him and put him on his Twitter. So there's just short clips about that one statement in particular on the Twitter. That's where I saw
Here we go.
it. Yeah, it was useful.
I got it.
The meeting went for 4 hours, maybe 5 hours. I
Super good.
stayed for about 2 hours. I spoke at it, but you would really
right?
understand
Eric.
all of.
There we go.
I had the times written down.
I have
for
it.
you.
108. It's coming.
Yeah.
It's just, yeah. I hate when you do this to me, Eric. When within 1 hour of the show and you spring the stuff on me and we look like a third rate show, not being able to give everybody what they want.
On how
I
to
led-
move forward.
I led you to the water, John.
One of the things that came up in that
You got
conversation
to buy John.
was about John O'Keefe.
It works.
as well. You
Yeah.
had made some statements back
Yeah.
then about it. Has anything changed? Is there anything to update on that? Because people still have a lot of interest, obviously, in what's going on with John O'Keefe and the Boston police in general, and around that whole situation with Karen Reed. And
Yeah, I think it's a great question, Mike, and it's although I didn't follow the trial for many reasons, but what I do know is there was no justice for John O'Keefe, a Boston police officer.
Yeah.
I don't think he was treated with the respect that he earned, including after his death. I don't think his family was treated with the respect either. But there's a lot of unanswered questions, but there has to be some justice for this police officer and his family. And I don't think that justice has been provided to date. There was a woman police officer on the Boston police. I don't recall her name.
Kelly Dever.
Yeah, Kelly Dever. So she testified during that court trial. Don't know if she testified truthfully or not. But what I do know is she met with the police commissioner prior to her testimony, which was a mistake. But why did she speak and have a private conversation with the police commissioner? Why would the police commissioner call her to meet with him? And I believe the police commissioner was unfamiliar. He mentioned that he was unfamiliar with the case and he had nothing to do with it. But if he was unfamiliar with the case and had nothing to do with it, why would he call a Boston police officer into his office before she testified? That's still bothering me. And I don't know the answer to it, but it's an unanswered question. And I believe the O'Keefe family deserves to know the answers. And when a Boston police officer, in my opinion, when a Boston police officer
And if you see the width of the handle,
dies,
you come down.
there should be, whether it's in Boston or outside of Boston, there should be a complete investigation by the Boston Police Department. They should have done their own independent investigation into what happened. Maybe they should have done it after the trial or not. But Boston police played a role in many aspects of what happened. And there should be some accountability in acknowledgement and investigation on what did the Boston Police Department do? What was their role, if any? But I do think they had a role during the trial. I do think they had a role during the investigation. I do believe there's more information that is not public. Do I know what it is? No. But I do know that a decorated police officer died, and there's a lot of unanswered questions. And I do think that police officer and his family deserve respect.
Sure. And especially it happened on the front lawn of another Boston police officer. So, it's like definitely should be as much transparency as possible on that one. And the family deserves the answers. It's so true. And especially with the meeting, that meeting, that was such a suspicious meeting, and the way he denied it, and she really didn't deny it. When she got on the stand, I felt like she was more truthful than Cox was. So
yeah, I could tell when she testified. Again, I didn't follow the trial, but I could tell when she testified that she wasn't telling the entire story.
Exactly.
And she was a reluctant witness, and she didn't want to be there. That's the sense I had. And I don't know if she was telling the truth or not, but she wanted to tell another side to the story, I believe. And I don't know what that side of the story is, but there's a lot of unanswered questions about that trial. And what did the Boston Police Department know? When do they know it? And why isn't this information public? Does the public deserve the right to know?
Yes, we do.
Does the deceased officer's family deserve the right to know? Does the rank and file members of the Boston Police Department that dedicated their entire life, do they deserve to know? And do the residents of Boston and Massachusetts deserve to know? If you say yes, then we should be transparent. And if we don't want to know the answers, then nothing will happen, and we'll just continue as if there's nothing to see here.
I'm the edema.
There's that
building
quick
up in my
video,
lower
right?
legs, and most
Good
compression
natural
stops
breaking
you
point.
touch me. Let me.
I think we all deserve to know. We need to know.
I agree, Mike. I think the public can handle the truth.
Right.
What the public doesn't like is when you're trying to hide things from them, when you're trying to deceive them, when you're trying to tell them something that is inaccurate, or giving them 40% of the story. They know that there's something not right about this story. They don't know what exactly it is, but I do believe they don't necessarily believe or understand all of the story. They want answers too. But the problem, Mike, is the longer you wait, the less likely you're going to get the right information, the relevant information. People's memories fade, dates change, circumstances change. I'm not saying people are making things up, but people's memories do fade after a period of time. And does the public deserve the right to know? Does the Boston police officer, deceased Boston police family, do they deserve the right to know? I think the answer is yes.
Me too. And the longer it goes, and especially when there's like that void where there's, where people don't have the information. It just fuels the speculation. It just gets people crazier, So it's like the sooner they reveal the real information, it kind of tamps down the speculation and the conspiracies and all the craziness.
All right, hold on. I have some comments.
They don't get their information.
Absolutely. Hold
because
on.
they have to fill it.
Go ahead.
Okay, so first, we do have the information. Kyle and Emily C. have worked very hard on those FOIAs. We have tens of thousands of pages of documents. But that's not a critique. The question was fair from Mike. My critique is of the answer. Counselor Flynn. I like Counselor Flynn. I think he's cool. But you got to read Wittgenstein. Okay? Of that which thou does not understand, thou should not speak. Okay? Or of which thou cannot speak, thou should be silent. That's the answer to that question. I don't know enough about the case. That was pontificating. That was bloviating. If you don't know enough about the case to answer the question, don't. First of all, the Boston police are not going to investigate this. The IA of the Boston police is never going to investigate this. And third of all, it's a terrible idea to have the Boston police investigate this. They're more conflicted than anyone else, perhaps even more than the Norfolk DA and the SPDU. What is happening is there's a federal investigation of the entire state police apparatus and probably of some people in the Boston police. Whether Counselor Flynn knows that and is withholding to play some kind of game, or he doesn't know the context, I don't know. But if you don't, I'm just frustrated. I understand you want justice for John O'Keefe. Boston police are within your jurisdiction. But if you don't know the facts of the case, don't say things like, I didn't watch the trial, but during her testimony, I thought she was X, Y, or Z. No, be consistent. Don't pontificate. It makes me really frustrated. I know this case inside and out, as do both of you two gentlemen. I'm frustrated.
Where I disagree with you, Grant, I agree with his take on Kelly Dever and her testimony. You could see she wanted to do the right thing. She struggled with it, and she finally held back. You could see that she was a hostile witness. She didn't want to be there. She really wanted to follow the thin blue line. In other words, leave me out of this. I know nothing. I just leave me be. Right.
Yeah, and that part's so valid because there is a valid critique there. Look at the timesheets for the Canton PD that day. Look at when she was there. Look at when Higgins went to the Canton PD first. Look at how much time he spent there the next day. Look who was supposed to be on shift. Look who wasn't in the MSP database. All of it lines up to she had a reason to withhold information. But the question really to me is not what was her reason for withholding information. It was what did she see that night that made her so scared she left her job. Same with Katie McLaughlin.
For a year. Katie left for a year.
They're both gone.
No,
Katie's back.
Katie's back.
Katie's back.
She's back.
She was, yep.
But Devers,
came back.
am I wrong
Devers
that Devers actually did leave the BPD?
She did leave, yes.
With her and the paperwork basically says because I want to. Right? That was all it said. Because I want to.
CPD,
Reason
not
for leaving.
BPD, excuse me.
No. Boston police. She left.
She went from Canton to Boston and then
To
left Boston.
And
then left Boston.
Yes. Yeah. Yep.
The
So that's
thing
one of the things.
John, the
Yeah.
thing that struck me with Flynn was that, he acknowledged that Cox never should have, the commissioner never should have called her to his office to discuss any of this.
Right.
And it was a mistake. And he's got questions. And I think we all still
They
have
didn't
questions.
think it would ever see the light of day, Eric.
Exactly.
How much
They
of an
didn't.
old boys network was this? When I look into
Huge.
some of this stuff, it goes back to like the 90s. These guys were around
That
forever.
goes back to the 80s.
80s.
The 80s.
Yeah.
It's the good old boy network.
It's the snowball that just got huge.
Yeah. They didn't think the general public was going to start doing information requests and asking for all their emails. They didn't think they actually, well, I mean, we saw it with Matt. If it's going to be an episode. Well, it's been an episode for the last 3 years. The other thing I want to agree with him on is the longer it goes, the less of a chance that we're going to see anybody be held responsible. Because, like you said, memories fade. You're going to see memories fade. Memories faded before even the first trial. I wish we counted the exact number of I don't remembers, I don't recalls for the total amount of all the witnesses. Tristan, I don't even know why they had him on the stand. He didn't remember anything. Colin didn't remember anything. Needed everything to be rephrased for him. Actually, needed the very first question rephrased for him. And the first question was, did you speak to anyone before coming to testify today? And he's like, can you rephrase that? Yeah. So you add 2 more, 3 more years, and I honestly think that was the plan all along. Let's stretch this out as long as we can, and we'll take 2 trials against her, and then we're going to tie this up in civil litigation for the next 3 to 5 years, and nothing happens.
Yeah, I'll give you a prediction though, because history is a fickle mistress, as it were. My prediction: within 6 months, we get everything. Everything.
Yep.
Within 12 months, people are arrested. And I believe there will be a joint federal and state task force coordinated by U.S. Attorney Leah Foley and Norfolk DA Adam Deitch, which will see a lot of these people go to jail. The problem is a lot of these offenses are really state offenses. Michael Morrissey's not going to charge his guys. And I've heard for years, listen, before this trial even got heated, I heard from my people who are pretty involved in government. They told me it straight, which was, it is partially Michael Morrissey, but it's not Michael Morrissey, it's the people around him. All you have to do is dig a little bit into that MSP BFIT unit, which was this triathlon team, and you find this culture went deep. It wasn't 1 case, it wasn't 2 cases, it wasn't 3 cases. They had a playbook. They knew how to bang up girls in particular on charges. Karen just happened to get involved and fall victim to it because she was a little bit of a naive outsider walking into a world that was hidden behind the scenes, and she didn't understand. And frankly, I don't think she liked, which is why she called John a pervert. I don't think she understood what John was doing. I know full well, in my opinion, what John was up to. I know exactly what he was on to. I know it. I read it in the court papers. I know what he was on to. I know what those people in Canton do. And frankly, I know it's not you all, but I'm a little disgusted. It was allowed to go on for that long. I'm frankly
elaborate a little bit for our viewers in case some of
speaking very broadly. Yes, speaking very broadly, there are public family court papers related to a redacted family. If you read them, you'll read about a couple that John and Karen were spending time with. In fact, they were in John's home on January 15th, 2022. They were also there in December of 2021. There's that couple, and then there's one other couple. I don't remember their name. They should not have been around Johnny, okay? They shouldn't have, because of his line of work, because he had kids, and John knew they were bad news because of a specific redacted individual who I'm sure the 3 of us probably know by name. My point is, they shouldn't have been around John. They shouldn't have been around his kids. He would never, in his line of work, in my opinion, unless he somehow threw caution completely to the wind, which I don't believe, would have ever allowed those people in that home unless he were monitoring them.
Mm-hmm. We'll just leave it at that. I don't want to. I think many of us kind of get the gist of it. We'll leave it.
When you
we'll
listen, the FOIAs are out there now. You can read them. It's pinned to the top of my Twitter. John was saying we'll leave the person unnamed. Oh, I'm gonna send these 4 prostitutes home. And that was after the Pats played the Colts on December. I want to say it was 8th or 15th of 2021. John left the bar early to go home. He texted unnamed person, I'm sending these hookers home. There's a 4-hour minimum. Yeah. I don't believe John was into that for a second. I think John was monitoring these people, and I think they were worried. And that's why the Helena Rafferty reports, I don't think they're just about drugs. No way. I know who John reported for selling drugs. I know exactly, because I used to cover the cannabis industry. So I know exactly who lived on that street. I know exactly which company they worked for at the time, and I know exactly who they used to date.
Yes. the Canton folks here know what you're talking about. Some of the other Cronks
I'm
might
well
not, but
versed.
if you're from Canton, you know who we're talking about.
That's my theory, though. If you want my overarching theory, that's the institutional corruption here. It's that they had a good old boys network where they could go to bars and order drinks that weren't on the menu. And John found out about it.
Yep. So what else do you have for a takeaway from the Flynn interview?
I think that the powers that be in Boston, in the federal government, in the state house, in the various corners of the oversight apparatus, all know that this is coming to a crescendo, and that it started with Tiffany Overstreet, and then it was Sandra Birchmore, and then it was Karen Reed. And but for the grace of God, Karen Reed's alive and managed to expose them, and she'll go down in history as having brought down, only because of a very strange coincidence with the Epstein files getting released, she'll go down in history as having brought down one of the worst human trafficking networks in existence ever. I've never seen anything so bad. And Karen will be the one. She can't tell the story yet, but mark my words, in like 3 years, she will be the one who will have exposed it. That's why she told Rotten Mango that she thought between February 2nd of 2022 and June 8th or whatever of 2022 that they were going to do her like Sandra Birchmore. She knew because John told her.
Wow. Eric?
Huh.
Oh, you weren't ready for this, were you, Eric? Grant, it was a week or two ago that Eric's like, hey, let's check in with Grant and see how he's doing. And I'm like, he didn't have to tell me twice. I'm like, yeah, absolutely. And I'm sorry it took me so long to ask you right away. I just, things, like I said, you get busy during the week, but you were on our radar all along for a while here.
Yeah, and let me give it to you.
Yeah.
I'll give it to you straight. I did not intend to infiltrate these people. I want to give it to you straight. I legitimately went into this in the summer of 2023 because I was just like, what the hell is going on down there? I never intended to get so close that I'd start hearing about people like pimping out their roommates, like cops going to brothels, like cover-ups. Never once. I want you to know I went into it with the opposite approach. I wanted to debunk all of that. It ended up all being true, and it was worse. Epstein went to freaking Stoughton. Literally, I want you all to know you were right from the beginning. That dark, pernicious force you were feeling, private intelligence contractors, I know I'm on to them. I'm going to get them. I called the Congress. They retweeted me. It was great. Rep Luna retweeted me. It was the greatest day of my life.
Grant, before we went live, you did a connect the dots, follow the money. I don't know if you remember what we're talking about.
Yes.
Okay. Are we allowed to get back into that or no?
Oh, sure. So I'd love to talk about the Sally Port video. Everyone got it wrong.
Absolutely.
Do you know what a modified limited hangout is?
Anybody in the chat know what a modified limited hangout is?
Oh, it comes from our favorite, because Counselor Flynn, he watches way too many movies, bro. Seriously. He's saying like, what did the BPD know and when did they know it? That comes straight out of the Watergate hearings from 73. He said they can't handle the truth, straight out of A Few Good Men. It's so cliche. He like watches way too many movies. At least listen to the Senate Watergate report. Don't watch the hearings. The report's where it's at. Pull me back though. What was it that I was about to wait?
You were going to do the follow the
timeline.
money. Okay.
Yes.
Of the
okay.
Sally Port. Now remember, some of us you got to kind of not dumb it down for us, but go a little bit slow.
Sure.
Go a little slow for us all. Here we go.
The Sally Port video, we all remember it. Not everyone, but those of you who followed this case, Sally Port,
know it.
You're going to be like, oh, the inverted video. Everyone remembers that. That was the modified limited hangout. People tricked Karen. and all of us. The inversion on the video wasn't the corruption. The corruption, you got to look at the timestamp, 5:38 p.m. Eastern, 1/29/2022. There's a mysterious jump cut and into the footage right near Michael Proctor, where he's near Karen's taillight. At 5:38 p.m. pops a mystery man. No one knows his identity. He is colloquially known as the mystery man. Now, why do I say this is so interesting? Because if you look at the actual video and you do a box zoom on the pop-in, there's like what's called artifacts in digital editing. When you try to like blur or what's called blend like an edit, there's going to be an artifact. It's going to be called a trace line. It oftentimes is going to be 1 pixel. Like this. You have to actually manually trace and edit by frame to do that. Someone did that to that video. There are 2 people that ran a digital video technology company together. Their names that people might remember, John Fanning and Colleen Crawford. Now, John Fanning wrote the report exonerating Matthew Farwell for the murder of Sandra Birchmore. We all know how that played out. John Fanning,
because he met him in a parking lot, right? He interviewed him in a parking lot.
Oh yeah. His friend Matt.
Nothing to see
and you got to
right.
You got to remember the command structure of that unit. Brian Tully, detective lieutenant, he's the commander. John Fanning is the executive officer. He's second in command, and then third in command is Yuri Buchanan. Yuri and Fanning used to work in Stoughton. All right, but getting back to John Fanning and Colleen Crawford, they had a digital video editing company. And you should take a look at some of the other holdings that Colleen Crawford and John Fanning have. They have a number of companies. And you check these companies that they're like overlapping with, and you just trace it back a little bit, and you end up in this circle in Quincy. And wouldn't you know it, these money men in Quincy, my word, do they have a lot of holdings. They have these holdings. They were really interesting. You know, some of this money, you start finding things like, just as an example, not saying this directly traces to Crawford and Fanning, but just Colleen Crawford. Let me speak generally. You start looking in the Epstein files, right? And you find this really weird company called NGAA Wealth Management at 1200 North Colony Drive in Quincy. And you're like, wow, that's odd. I wonder if I go like 12 years back in its corporate filings, what I'm going to find. Oh, State Street. Yeah. And then you find all of these weird ties between like Jeffrey Epstein, State Street, these like weird, like niche rich guys in Quincy up on the North Shore, some like real estate holding companies up in New Hampshire, where the age of consent was 14 for a long time, where Ghislaine Maxwell had a house. And then all of a sudden you start wondering and you start questioning, like, wait a minute. Like, why would John Fanning and Colleen Crawford have a video editing company? And furthermore, like, how adept is Colleen Crawford at video editing? And furthermore, if you actually had the feds break down that Sallyport video and look at the digital alteration and then ask Colleen Crawford why she did that, what would her answer be and what was she trying to hide? I want the mystery man. I'm going to get him. And Adam Deutsch is going to get him. And Leah Foley's going to get him. We're going to get him. He killed John. I know he did. He took that, he killed John, he took that piece of taillight, and he was the one ordering them all around. Why? Because he was the pimp of all pimps. I know it. Devine wasn't Epstein's point person in Massachusetts. It was this guy, the mystery man. He must have been some powerful, like, state or federally connected official or something. I have no idea.
Grant, how was the mystery man dressed that day?
Yeah.
The best I can discern, black sweatshirt, some kind of white lettering on the back. I can't tell if he had jeans or like black pants. He either had sneakers or boots.
Something rhymed with Marley Davidson. Did it rhyme with?
Oh
that?
yeah, I couldn't really make out the logo. It kind of looked like a motorcycle sweatshirt, like a Harley Davidson logo. But all I can really confirm is that it's like a black sweatshirt with white text on the back. That's the best I could get. Colleen Crawford thinks she's good, but I'm better.
Well, let's hopefully I've brought up the right clip. Yeah. Chances are I didn't, but I want to bring this up since we're talking about Higgins. Let me pull this up and let's see if I'm right.
I don't know.
Drove my government vehicle down to New York for the services. That was a Dodge Ram pickup.
This is the right video.
One came with you from
that's
back
Higgins,
from New York City to Massachusetts.
Brian Elbert, Kevin Elbert, and Eddie Hernandez. I'd say like a 4-hour ride, depending on traffic. This was longer, and I would also factor in the fact that we stopped and ate on the way back.
Now, when I put this all together, I totally forgot that when he got home, he ate again. But so they ate on their way back from New York. They go to Charlestown. He drops off Brian Albert and Kevin Albert. No, he doesn't drop off Kevin Albert. Kevin Albert rides back with him. Kevin Albert doesn't ride back with his brother. Kevin Albert rides back with him. He could have gone home to West Roxbury, but he talked Brian into going to the hillside. So he wants to go to the hillside. So he decides Brian's going to head back to Canton somewhere. Where does Brian go? We don't know, but maybe he beat him, but they walked in together to the hillside. He brings Kevin back to the Canton police station so he could leave his government vehicle at the police station, jump in his Jeep, and go up to the hillside to eat again, only to then be seen at the waterfall drinking, and then goes home, eats, and passes out on the couch. But we'll keep going here.
Well, and one question: why were all of John? First of all, why was Higgins allowed to go into
the first
field office of the? Why was Higgins allowed to go into the field office of the federal government and then extract his own phone and then choose what he handed over? And why are all of John and Higgins' texts between January 15th and January 28th and 29th gone?
Why was he allowed to? And why did he do it before he ever even talked to the state police? Why did he do it ahead of time?
You know, I always thought it was because he was an undercover. That seemed to be the Occam's razor explanation. But the more I look into this, the more questions I have about what him and John were doing. Like, why were they talking? Right, you don't go to a bar in Canton and bitch because the freaking beer is overpriced. No, absolutely not. No one does that. There's no reason that John and Higgins were texting in the fall of 2021 and the winter about overpriced beers at bars.
I know.
No way.
Yeah, nobody
way.
does that. Real quickly, I want to give a quick shout out to Mullins, to Brandy, and to DJ Atkins, our 3 mods. You guys are incredible. I want to say thank you guys for everything you do. Not that you really have to do much. We don't really get trolls in here. So this is for the 3 of them.
After a hard day at work, there is nothing better than a Pricks Insider.
There you go. I just want to thank them because they're in here all the time, and they oh. Let me see if I can get this. Grant, let me finish this video. We'll go back to the mystery man because I don't want to F it up, Grant. Let me finish this video. And then I see the Twitter of the mystery man. We'll come back to it. All right. So I've set up the video for everybody. Let's hear their version, or at least Brian's version of what happened. So here we go. And play. It doesn't play all the time. Sometimes
So we was a Boston Police Department district in Charlestown. Brian Albert and Eddie Hernandez had parked their vehicles. I went back to the Canton Police Department where I dropped off Kevin Albert, and then switched vehicles, got into my Jeep Wrangler, and I traveled up to the hillside in Canton. Brian Albert agreed to meet me there because I had traveled back, dropped the vehicle off. He may have even beat me there because I went to the station and dropped Kevin off, but I don't think it was contemporaneous, but it was in close
contemporaneous.
proximity. So I had something to eat. I had something to drink. The approximate time, maybe an hour or so, and then Brian had left before me. I remained, he left. He had told me that he was going down to the Waterfall Bar and Grill, which is in Canton Center, and that he'd be meeting his wife and some family and maybe some other people.
So you leave from the hillside and you go directly to the waterfall?
Yes.
And if you know, about what time was it that you got to the waterfall?
Again, it was dark. It could have been around 9 in the area, 9 o'clock. I went to a series. I saw Brian and his family, and there was a series of high tops, and I proceeded to the high tops where they were.
Your husband, was he working on that day?
Yes, he was.
And
I
had
got
you
questions
been in
for her too.
communication with him as to where you were going to be?
Yes.
And so the plan was basically for him to meet you at the waterfall when he was done with work?
Correct, yes.
Okay. Remember, the plan was for him to meet her at the waterfall. She brought him clothes. Remember, it was a little ritual. Okay, keep going.
If you know,
I don't mean I don't mean
Go
to
ahead.
pause it, but I just want to
No,
weigh
you
in
can-
on one thing.
I didn't anytime you want.
So I don't. Everyone looks how they look. I don't really care about that. But there's something hollow. I've never analyzed her before. I've never met her. This is Brian Albert's wife, Coco. Is it?
No. This is Chris Albert's wife,
Yeah, her name is
Julie.
last name Albert,
Daniel. Well, Albert. Her maiden name was Daniels. Yep.
which is Jillian Daniels' sister.
Correct. I lived like 3 houses away from them.
Okay. There's just I've never talked to this person. I've met Chris, I've met Colin, but there's just my initial read. I'm sorry, I have to meet her in person to actually vibe check her. Like there's something there, like she's either seen something like very, very, very dark,
Traumatic. Yeah.
or no, or like participated in something bad. Like there, it's hollow. I need to be in her presence to actually tell you to vibe check her, but there's something that look, that's an 1,000-yard stare. She has not been in war. Like I know this trial was rough. Okay. I understand. I don't understand it the way the witnesses do, but I understand how intense this was. That's not from this. She just has been through something, not just this. She's seen some stuff. I don't know what Canton's like. I heard it's a little rough. People get around, etc. But whatever she's seen has really hurt her. That's my opinion.
Canton's not rough. I grew up in Canton. Canton's not rough. Stop.
I didn't say rough like gangbang. No pun intended. I didn't mean like actual gangs rough. We'll leave it there.
You mean gangs of New York, not gangbangs.
Yeah, just nothing. Moving on.
Two different gangs. Okay. Street gangs, non-street gangs.
Yeah, it's a very nice town. Trust me.
Pound Town.
Yeah, Little St. James was beautiful, I heard.
Maybe not 9:30, 10.
he came in. Did he get anything to eat, anything to drink?
Yeah, he probably ordered a drink and just stood by the table, I would think.
And
I would
you and the
think.
people in your group, were you drinking that night?
Yes.
Your husband, what is he? Do you recall specifically what he had that night?
What he would drink is Miller Lite.
While you were there, who, if any,
See, this is what got me on that first trial. Everyone, when they were asked a question, they wouldn't answer the question. Do you know what he drank? Well, what he would have drank, like none of them will ever go on the record with anything. You know, just like Brian, if I did break the SIM card, you know, I would have. None of them would have admit anything.
That's why I
It
thought their
happened
whole
time and
Discord
again.
was so. That's why I thought their Discord was so weird. I think it was deleted, but I never understood why all of them were on a Discord. Like, bro, what are you doing on a Discord when you're gonna testify? Like, you're all gonna, like, they may not have realized it, but you develop patterns of syntactical speech. You will speak the way that, like, you will speak the same as what you're reading every day. So, of course, these people all develop similar speech patterns. I can't tell you who was in there and on an exhaustive list. They had a freaking Discord. It was crazy. I could not believe they were doing that.
Yeah. Well, they're just regular soccer moms. You know.
Of course, that's the type of people that hang out on Discord. Well, my Discord has a bunch of like old moms and things like that. But yeah, mostly no, that's not the type of people who hang out on Discord.
Or if anyone else sort of came in and joined the group that you were with.
My brother-in-law, Brian Albert, and his friend, Brian Higgins.
So she's saying that her husband got there before Brian and Brian. None of them were, and then Chris was saying that Jen and Matt get there after him, but Jen and Matt say that Chris got there after them, and this is why we say memories get fuzzy because they're all
is
out
this
drinking.
why is this why Emily says to believe these stories you have to live in alternate timelines? I think I finally get it.
Yeah, because every one of them is like, oh yeah, I walked in and I saw Matt and Jen there. And then when Matt and Jen each testify, they're like, oh, who was there when you got there? Well, when we got there, we saw Chris there. Well, again, which one is it? It's the same thing that Eric, we've harped on. Colin says he went right home he got picked up at 12:10 and went right home. Chris says he walked home. Each one has their own alternate universe in which they got home. Chris got home first and Colin got home second. It's the same thing at the bar. Higgins was when we did the timeline for Higgins, he was consistently off an hour on everything he testified about. Everything about when he got to places, when he left places, he was off by an hour. So it's like I said, it's going to be one of those. It's now 6, 7, 8 years down the road. I don't know. I don't know the time anymore. And for something that went down to the minute, with they tried to pin it on Karen's vehicle down to the minute. Now everything's just blurred.
Yeah, and you want to know what's fascinating? So I was doing some research, in the DOJ Epstein site. I found wiretaps, federal wiretaps, Canton, Quincy, Stoughton, Avon, 2021 through 2023, 2024. Let's just hope they may have thought they were slick. I don't think they were that slick.
We will see eventually, or hopefully we will. Hopefully.
And after they arrived, who, if anyone else, do you recall sort of arriving and joining in your group?
Jennifer McCabe and Matt McCabe.
Pretty much when you walk in, it's just kind of like open. And my wife was there. Matt was there. Matt McCabe was there. Jen McCabe was there. My sister-in-law, Nicole, was there. My niece, Caitlin, was there. I think when I first walked in, that's who was there.
I was at the top of the high top table closest to the door.
And when they came in, where did Mr. O'Keefe and the defendant go?
John walked in and said hello and kept on walking.
John came in, said hello, kept on walking. Looks to me like John came in, hugged Higgins, and hugged Brian. I get it. You were all drinking.
I think to the bar.
He didn't go to the bar. He was right there.
Karen came in and stopped at the table to talk for a minute.
No, we saw Karen go across and go to the bar.
Talk for a minute. What, if
They had it backwards.
It works
she
in her
opened her
favor, though,
jacket
because
and
she
had
can
a
say she didn't watch the
glass.
video.
Right.
And pulled the glass out and started drinking the drink.
She got that correct. We do see her pull the glass out and put it on the table right there.
What, if any,
If you zoom in under the 1055, you do see Karen put a glass on the table.
Mr. O'Keefe was drinking?
No, I don't believe. I left very shortly after.
She did leave at 11:17, 11:18. She did leave. Get up and left.
10, 15 minutes.
And why is it that you left?
I had a terrible migraine.
So there you go. So my questions, like I said, to that were, so Brian Higgins, it was a long day, it was a long ride back from New York, and he just didn't want that party to end. So they go to Charlestown. He drops off Eddie Hernandez. They drop off Brian into his vehicle. Kevin stays with Higgins. And there's one name that keeps popping up in, at least in the chats and all around Canton, and that's Berkey. Because there's been a lot of people who have been saying Berkey went with them, but they kept his name out of this. And if that's the case, did Berkey go back with Brian, and did Kevin go back with Brian Higgins?
But wouldn't there, if someone can prove that, like these events are not that hard to run down. There's always people who are there just like, screw them all. If somebody can put Berkowitz at that event on that day in New York, I mean, it changes a lot. First of all, Berkowitz and Higgins spent time with each other in the afternoon. I thought it was the early morning at first. It was actually the afternoon of 1/29/2022. So you got like this, and this might tie into the Devers thing. You got like this
from 11 o'clock.
Yeah.
On. He remember he left 34 Fairview and went right to the Canton police station. So he was there.
So with Berkowitz, the chief.
Yeah. Yep.
Yeah, and Devers was there. There is a period of time, about 45 minutes, where Berkowitz and Higgins have a conversation. Now, the other important thing to think about is ruling out at 5:38 p.m. who was not in the Sallyport. Who was not in the Sallyport? Yuri and Berkowitz. How do we know? Because we see them walk off camera right before the clip.
Yep. They shake hands. Up. Yep.
They go inside.
They shake hands. Yeah.
So you got Proctor over by the taillight. Then you got another guy who's with MSP taking pictures of the car. He leaves. Then you got one person who's unaccounted for.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And
I did a whole. I did when I did the Sallyport videos of what was there. I literally would play it over and over, but I would only watch one person the whole time, and I would just write down what his actions were the whole time. I wouldn't pay attention to anyone else. Then I would go back and do it all again and watch the next person, just what he did over and over. That's how you see Helena come and go. You see.
I would love to see your notes. I would love to see your notes, like in context, because I know someone probably saw this, but they probably didn't know what they were looking at. That guy,
I know exactly what you're talking about. Oh, let me
who walks.
Let me.
Yeah, I have the clip. Yeah. That guy who walks, like pops into frame and then walks out.
Yep.
I've asked everyone. I've asked Richie, Microdots. I've asked Emily C. I've asked all these different people, based on all your exhaustive research. Who is that? No one has ever been able to tell me, oh yes, I can definitively tell you that person is X.
I'm watching it right now. How far into the 12 minutes is it?
It's pretty quick in the beginning. Once I talk for a little bit, but once you see the actual clip play, you'll see me analyze it.
You talk for a little bit. Okay.
Yeah, it's only a 12-minute clip, but yeah, it's a very. I put a lot of effort into. I put a lot of effort into when I found this, my world shattered. It was almost as big as when I found the text.
I've got the same. I know exact. I don't even have to play it. I know exactly what it is. It's the same thing I have here. Let's see if I can pull this up. All right, let's add this right, and then what do I do?
Hey, that's
right.
On Wednesday, you can full screen it. Tuesday, actually, February 17th, 2026, and I have been looking at a piece of footage. Specifically from the Canton Police Sallyport at 5:30. Yeah, it's in the bottom right. Yeah,
I know.
Oh, you got it, John. Michael Proctor's head is up in the top right. On the top left is a man who has just walked away from the door.
Yep, there's his.
We're about to see an unknown mystery man. That the world is aflame. The Karen Reed trial.
The world is a vampire.
To figure out who it is. This man, however, his presence, his apparition into this video file, is not the biggest scandal. The biggest scandal is what's about to happen digitally when he appears. Why? Because you're going to notice, as I mentioned, this man was walking out of frame
And that leg that you see is a trail leg, his right leg after walking out of frame. There is nothing that happens to trigger a motion event between when this trail leg walks out of frame and the next frame you're about to see. So there is no new recording that starts. There's no new trigger event. The camera's already recording.
Are we allowed to have two Grants on at the same time? I'm just curious. We have Grant on both screens, but Grant, I was on this like immediately, and I'm gonna say the same thing as you. They don't even walk the same, so you can't even say, "Oh, that's just a burnt video of," because you know what I mean, because they always, what was the excuse that because it rewrites itself all the time, it was an artifact. They didn't walk the same.
There is a jump cut, ready? And that is the very next thing you see. Now you might be saying to yourself, well, okay, that looks a little anomalous. It almost looks like someone used like a blur tool specifically right here, like put a bunch of like square boxes, like square blur boxes right here that were yellow, and then by hand traced a blend right around the figure.
See it.
So you can't see what this figure's doing. And also there's a trail leg. Notice the trail leg. I'm going to go a frame at a time at 0.25 speed. Watch what happens. Look at the trail leg. It's just frozen.
Yep.
Look at this person. He's still moving. Watch his next steps. Oh, the trail leg's still there, but he's still moving. And the blur box is now just around his figure. No, wait. Now he's in the light in this point. This is a zoomed in, like,
Eric, I got to ask you while we're paused. What does that look like on the back of the mystery man's sweatshirt? I know it's blurry. What does it look like to you? Some sort of patch, iron-on patch or something?
Or a graphic that was, part of the sweatshirt itself.
But can we all agree black sweatshirt, white lettering?
Yes.
There you go.
Now
That's
watch.
all I was getting at.
It's only, but what's crazy is it's only visible in this frame because the light is only hitting it. As soon as the blur box goes away, his upper body's in the dark and you can't see the writing anymore. It's crazy.
Yep.
Transition from the lit part of the Canton Police Sally Port to the outside where there's no light. It's a snowstorm and a blizzard. It's like 5:38 p.m. in January in New England. The blur box at this point is still hand drawn. There are now obvious fence posts blurs. Okay. They're yellow to try to make it seem
like Grant, here's another thing. Nowhere else is there a blur box on the screen other than when this, you know what I mean? When you watch any of the rest of the video, if we did the exact same thing on some of the rest of the video on the other side of the Sally Port or any of this stuff, there's no blur box. Just put that out there for people. Okay.
Yep.
like
and it's not an artifact.
No.
Yellow post
it's a
here.
blur, it's a blur box.
That blur box down there is just not blended. Okay. It's got a perfectly round, perfectly square edge. Okay. Blur box goes up here. It actually covers the little bit of the bumper here. It was a mistake. Goes over it. You can tell it's post-production editing. Okay. Now watch what happens. As this man takes one more step out of the light, that's what it's about. Now you see how damning that angle is. Why? Because the interior light is on the guy's sweatshirt and lighting up what appears to be white lettering right here.
Saw it better.
It's a clear image of the color of his pants, which look like jeans. It looks like they didn't do a great job. Okay. Looks like it's actually blue jeans, but they go dark once he steps out of the light. Okay.
And you can actually see more of the squares. You can see the top square, like the second box in. You see all those squares.
The only thing they missed. His sweatshirt here is already moving into the dark, so they didn't really blur it. They kind of blurred the lettering. And then all of this is post-production blurring. It's timed. It's perfectly drawn along his leg and then like his right buttocks, and then up towards his back of his sweatshirt, and then here. Okay. Now notice this is still here, the blur box, same place. They kind of blended this, but they forgot this. So the blur box is now extending with him. Now watch this. It just goes away in a single frame. That was one frame. Everything is gone because look at that line of demarcation.
And now look at the color of his pants. They're a different color again.
Mm-hmm.
He went from the light basically outside. See how dark it is around him? It's because the angle of the light is inwards. So as soon as he crosses the threshold, the camera angle is catching his feet at the part where he's about to exit, having light on him. Okay, the light is cast from behind him. Look at his shadow. He is now in the dark, and only this small portion of him is lit up from behind. They blurred where you would be able to identify this man. This man is the prime suspect, in my opinion, for questioning, as a lay towel, in the death of John O'Keefe. Now, what?
Do we keep going? Grant?
Well, if you keep going in this clip, do you see Proctor's head in the top right?
Yeah, right over the top of the car.
Yeah, I actually find that
see the doorway. See the doorway on the driver's side, rear of the car. See that? You see the metal door? That's the top of his head.
Yep, and you're going to see that head snap. They do another jump cut after this.
When this man walks away, okay? Video is going to play for a few seconds. What you're actually going to see here is the video pause during questioning in court. I'm going to show you when the figure walks away. I'm jumping forward a little bit. This is the only copy that was shown. It was during cross-examination of Yuri Buchanan. This is the only time this very sort of pixelated video was shown on the court screen. We do not have the raw file. Karen Reed's legal team got it as an EXE from the state, but the raw file has not been turned over. Now, you're going to see at 0.25 speed. That's why it's going so slow during the pause in the questioning. You'll see the camera move a little bit. That's actually the Court TV cameraman recording a screen in the courtroom of Norfolk Superior Court during the first Karen Reed trial on June 10th, 2024 during the morning session. Now, because it's playing at 0.25, like that time for questioning, even though it was only a few seconds, maybe like 30 seconds to a minute, is actually a little longer on our 0.25 copy, which is fine. We want to see Mr. Alan Jackson unpause the footage, which he's about to do. And you're going to see this man walk away. You're going to be able to see his full gait. Okay, no, the censor bar is gone because he has walked into the light. And it is very slow. So 0.25, there he goes. We have no images of him basically other than that.
Oh, you're gonna have to bear with me.
So Grant, forget about the Ford Edge. We need to find the mystery man.
Yep, and then we saw the most substantive part of this clip, which is the mystery man, but there is another very small clue in there. You can watch it on your own time. Proctor's head jumps. The angle of it turns. It's a very obvious jump cut. Now, what I think, this is my best, I think a few things happened. One, somebody did a modified limited hangout on Karen. Karen Reed's the only person who's going to be able to put this together. Whoever first told her to focus on the inversion on the Sallyport video was planting what's called a modified limited hangout, where you package disinformation in something that looks plausible. They threw her off. Her digital expert should review that video like with a very specific eye towards that 5:38 p.m. timestamp. They're going to see two things. They're going to see the obvious editing around the mystery man and the jump cut around Proctor's head. That's the whole kit and caboodle. That's the whole ball game. They misled her intentionally, and it really upsets me because if her team had found this, and it takes a really trained eye, like what you saw there was the result of me taking like a larger, like recording a camera, filming a TV screen. Then I did a box zoom. Then I reduced the speed to 0.25. Then I cleaned it up.
Literally
That's the
exactly
only
how I
way you
did
would see
mine.
it.
Yep. So
And
Grant,
if
I did it with
So
the very
choose-
with the very very beginning, and this is how I know this. I don't know. I don't know this. This is my theory, and a lot of people say the same thing, that car was brought in twice. And I will go to my grave believing that car was brought in twice, because when you watch at the very beginning, you see Proctor standing there with it's either Uriah Proctor or Higgins or Proctor. There's two people standing there, and then they get flip-flopped in 1 second. There's a jump cut, and they get flip-flopped. They're still standing there. The problem is one of them moves back 2 steps from where he was standing, and then they get flip-flopped to where they are, and then the car comes in. And I'm like, in my head, that's, hey, go back down, stand where you were, so that when the video of the car comes in, it looks like you were still there. And that's how I believe that.
Yep.
that
and
it was
and
brought
you
in
were
twice.
you were on it. You were on it.
Yeah.
And little did any of us know at the time that all this stuff about metadata and flip videos, no, nonsense. It was what's called a modified limited hangout. The real smoking gun was always the editing of that video in multiple areas. It ties to Colleen Crawford and John Fanning, and it puts everything together. You follow that money trail and that pixelation. Frankly, let's be clear. If this is proven, they committed obstruction of justice in a murder
Yep.
trial.
Grant,
And
you know what
it's
else-
proven. It's a
you know what
digital
else could be
fingerprint.
true? I do not believe that vehicle struck John. But let's just for shits and giggles, say it did, right? And then they did all of this. That's just as bad. But I don't think they did. And I still believe that Karen did not go up to Chapman Street. I think Karen did her 3-point turn, went back up Cedar Crest to Pleasant Street to Meadows, went Cedar Crest to Dedham to Pleasant, Dedham to Washington Pleasant. She went back the way she knew how to get back to John's, because the only video you see of her going home is Pequot side. They would have pulled the little Cassie's Corner, and they would have pulled the Temple had she driven by on her way home. If she had gone Chapman Street, they would have pulled.
So you think
the library?
You think her likely route was out Fairview, left, straight up to the light, left, straight through the first light, through the second light, right?
Nope. Remember
She
the
could
original-
get there
remember
that
the
way.
original. Remember the original.
She could, but then she
stories.
would have. Yeah, she would have hit those cameras. So
The
John's
original
saying that
stories.
John's
Yeah.
saying she did a 3-point turn right in
went
front
home.
of probably like Kelleher's house.
Correct. Remember, the original story was the V-shaped tracks that look like a U-turn, and then everybody that looked at this case was like, "Well, the wrong side of her car is damaged." And then the story went to she pulled all the way up to the next house and then backed up at 26 miles an hour, or whatever it was, right?
Oh, you're saying
if you
she
went-
took a little bit of a circumlocuitous route home because she left the area in a different way. I
No,
understand.
I think she went back home the way she knew, which would have been back up Cedar Crest to Dedham, to left on Washington, right on Pleasant. She got caught on the only camera, which was Pequot side.
Makes sense.
That makes sense. There's another route that I've driven, which is so Fairview's behind you. You come out, but you're exactly right. She would have been caught on both of those cameras. You come out with Fairview behind you. You take a left. You go straight. You know exactly what I'm talking about. You come up, take a left. Now, it was snowing. It was late. She didn't really know the area. But I have another question. I'm sorry to go back to this. How
No,
long
go
would
ahead.
it take to get from the Canton Police Station to Fairview Road?
4 minutes.
Yeah, at the most.
And when was
4
the
minutes.
first time that tail light was found by the CERT team or anyone, frankly, that day? 45?
I thought it was 46, but I could be wrong.
Which would
you know
make
what?
that
It's been 4 years. My memory's foggy.
Let's call it
Just like-
quarter.
But
of
it would
6.
make it would make that 5:38 p.m. timestamp very, very important.
Grant, here's
There
another-
was no tail light there before 5:45 p.m. That's my argument.
Grant, the only video. So the video from from the waterfall starts at 10:30, right? Why didn't they get video that started earlier that would have caught Brian and Brian showing up? Okay. You don't have that of the two of them walking in together or separate. It starts at 10:30. The exterior, if you watch the exterior footage that that was just released in for I don't know if it was Corey Hopkins that got it or the trial channel that has it, it cuts. We know Julie gets up and leaves at 12:18, but the outdoor cuts for like you lose a half an hour. It jumps a half an hour. And so you don't get to see her go out the front and see her leave.
But are we really surprised that any of this is missing or edited? That's, I think the question is not, would this, group of people, state police, local police, DA do this? The question is, why did they deploy it here?
Again, look at what we just went through with Flynn. The public has the right to know. The O'Keefes have the right to know. Why wouldn't you have all the footage so you can cross off and say, "Yep, you don't." How about this? Allie brings Colin home. Okay, if she showed up at 12:10, like they said, and picked up Colin and drove him home, we did this 2 different routes. Both times it was 4 minutes from Fairview to Maple Street. 2 different routes. Any of the routes she took, if she had taken Fairview up to Chapman to Washington Street, she would have got caught on Cassie's store, and she would have got caught on the Temple, and she would have got caught at the library. But she doesn't remember which way she took him home, okay? And she doesn't know what street she took. So those are out, and you don't see them. And if she had gone Chapman up, she had gone Fairview to Chapman to even Revere and cut in the back of the condos, she would have still been caught on the camera going home in front of the library and in front of the Temple and Cassie's Corner. None of that makes any sense. That anything they said, the video that would have proved it is all missing.
And where is the footage from later that day? Why don't we'll never get it, but why don't we know who was driving from the Canton PD to Fairview at that crucial moment? We'll never know. They never looked at those records because they weren't trying to find the person who did it. Probably the investigators were part of this. And I don't think anyone can deny this, that this unit would do something like this. There's evidence that they did this in other cases. The question, and I will get an answer to this if it's the last thing I do, is why John? Like, we have a right to know, but people, and then also I want to know about the private intelligence operation that is contracted out to former feds that pressures criminal defendants to plead guilty before trial by infiltrating their personal lives. I'm going to get them. I know what they did to Karen.
So somebody right there just said it too. Show us everything, and it wouldn't be a problem. And then we would believe the stories because you could see it. I believe Julie when she said, because now you see it. She got up and she left about, 15, 20 minutes after they came in. She was sitting at the end of the table. So what Julie was saying rings true. The problem with that is Julie says when she brought the donuts to put them in the car in front of her, right? And they called her in the house. Well, at 7:00, there was no car in front of her because there was a car missing at 7:00 when Gallagher takes the pictures.
You have proven beyond a reasonable doubt, in my opinion, that Matt McCabe did not leave his house at the time that he said. Along with the thing about Brian Albert Jr.'s car.
You know what? I was slightly wrong. I was slightly wrong with that. Because remember, their original plan was to go to Tom Beatty's house. Tom Beatty doesn't live anywhere in that. He lives completely the opposite way in town. But what they did do, they left out the fact that Kerry went in the house for a minute and then came back out. And then Matt went in and out 3 times. And they never, in 2 trials, they never mentioned that once. That Matt went in and out of the house 3 times that morning. And I want to know, When Brian came down the stairs, not in his underwear, and there was a cop already in the house, who let him in? Because Lank says I can't just go in the house.
And I have a question. Does Matt McCabe have a security clearance?
To what?
A security clearance is a general term, but it's for like access to, you can have different levels of it. But shouldn't someone have asked like if Matt McCabe has a federal security clearance? Isn't that like relevant?
Why do you think the company that he owns is
him and his
partners?
brother? Yeah, him and his brother. So this is all public record. Him and his brother have this contract for the 805th Shadow Squadron out at Nellis. Now that specific unit works on kill time, kill chain latency. So like the amount of time, think of it as like lag on a server, the amount of time between when you push the button and the bomb drops. And like, he's got to have a security clearance. So does his brother. So why did this never come up? What is there? What is this? Do people with federal security clearances just hang out in Canton and like live amongst the populace working on like defense contracts?
This is probably why online there's certain SOC accounts that will repeat over and over. Karen's the only one that will ever be arrested or tried for this. No one else will, because they feel that that they are protected. Again, let me ask you this, Grant. In trial one, it came up where Matt, in their texts, in the group texts between Matt and Brian and the rest of them, and Matt said, I had to pick up a car because he goes, I was driving through and I had to pick up a car. You need a second person to pick up a car. You're not, what are you doing? Dropping your car off and then picking up another car? Remember when he said I was trying to get pictures? I was driving through and I had to go pick up a car. A, what car was he going to pick up? And B, who was with him? Because in order to pick up a car, you need another driver.
Yep. And it just asks a lot. It begs a lot of questions because, and I guess it ties it all up in a neat little bow. So the name of the game in intelligence is information warfare. It's called like human intelligence or signals intelligence or psychological operations. Like I want people to understand this. You never leave the intelligence community. There's no such thing as former FBI, former intelligence contractor, former DOD contractor. You're always in the intelligence community. There is just something that is odd because the level of sort of psychological operations that were targeted at Karen in particular. I believe to this day, there are a few stragglers who are calling themselves Free Karen Read that have actually been working against Karen since the spring of 2023.
I believe that 100%.
My exhibit A is Jen Altman.
Yep.
Think about
She's going to the party.
Karen and who linked Karen up with Aiden. Jen Altman and Natalie. It was a setup. They were working, I believe, for private intelligence. This was an op from the beginning. It was designed to trick Karen into thinking that people who were loyal to her were helping her when in reality they were screwing her.
And then they go
and
back
it's all going to come out in the wash.
Yep. Well,
and the 3 or 4 of them that are left doing it, first of all, it's really odd. It all ties into
going to be part of Marty.
No, I found okay, so it's weird. I think he was like a subdivision of it. Okay, it's way it has. I think it has to do with Brian Albert's new firm, a firm that operates out of Florida and Tennessee, and then in particular, I think that like the way that this was functioning was that it was deployed initially, I believe, in like the spring of 2023. And it was a setup from the beginning so that Karen would be pressured. These firms specialize in it. The goal was to make this never go to trial. It was to put people around her. Oh, and that's what I was going to say. I traced them down a little bit. So this network online, it relates to this like relatively powerful political family from Somerville. I think their grandfather's dead. I ran across them when I was looking into Rev Clinics.
143.
Yeah, so like I was looking into Rev Clinics. It was it had to do with the business permitting ordinance in Cambridge. And they like this medical dispensary was trying to mess with 94G31AI. And I love 94G31AI. Don't you mess with it. It has to do with licensing for municipal business permitting ordinances for cannabis businesses. Don't mess with my statute. So anyway, Rev Clinics was messing with it and I got all mad. So I was looking deep into it, and I find this donation from the CEO to Rev Clinics to this like kind of like obscure candidate for Somerville mayor who was an also ran. But I never forget anything about that kind of stuff. So I had that name locked in the back of my head like forever. Okay, this family is everywhere. Okay, like that Sanchez dude on Twitter. Oh, he's part of that family. And then like some of these other people, and it has to be private intel. It's either private intel or some type of OC, because there is no reason why these people would be so dedicated to running control dramas to destabilize Karen and Aiden emotionally, unless it was part of a larger operation subcontracted through the Norfolk County DA and the MSP, really outsourced with private funds through a private intel agency. That explains Coffin Daffer's involvement, in my opinion. That explains this weird disparate network. That explains the people who go out there ostensibly pretending to be FKR, but putting out absolutely ridiculous, nonsensical information to make FKR look bad. It was all an operation. Altman's the smoking gun. Don't, you must heed my words. It's a warning.
Here's something I've said to many people. If anybody texts you and you don't, first off, if you don't know who's texting you, don't give them anything. Don't talk to them privately. Almost every person in this story is guilty of sharing private texts. Nothing's private. I know it says private text or private messaging. It's not in this story, because every one of them will use it against you.
If I could go back in time, first of all, it took me a long time. You know, I've apologized for falling victim to that propaganda. To be fair, like my own mother was part of it. So I hope people can understand, like you grow up in a family with two prosecutors. But this operation was unlike anything that I've ever seen before in my life. These people should not be underestimated, and you hit the nail on the head. Whatever your last comment was, if you could repeat it, you absolutely zeroed in on it.
Grit, how about this? How is it that on the morning of the field trip, nobody is down there watching the property, making sure that they're like right here. Speaking of coffee.
No, there was someone. There was someone there. His name was John Fanning. He was in charge of securing the scene.
Okay. Why were they able to catch Coffin Daffer running away on the ring cam, but not know who put that rock, the McAlbert rock out when the jurors got there? That's another thing. It's like how shame. That's when normal people like us are watching this, it just sickens you. You're like it's not a level playing field. It just isn't.
It feels like we were all living in the Truman Show. It feels like they were following people around. They were planting people in people's lives. They were planting narratives, and then they were creating reality. They were literally artificially creating reality. And I think, frankly, this ran deep. I think it went into the court a little bit. There's no reason that a witness's cousin potentially should be working as a clerk during this case. It shouldn't have happened.
No, it's the problem is you have a lot of close families, and there's money, and there's your life. You have people that don't want to go to jail. You have families. And you have reputation. I mean, it's the whole thing. And so I remember exactly. They put people in to say just be their friend, be their
It was the thing you said about the text, operational security. If I could have gone back to May of 2023 or earlier, when I first found this, or the summer of whatever it was, I would have done a lot of things differently. But the first thing I would have done is told Karen and Aiden about operational security. If you don't understand operational security and you are a high profile, forget about criminal defendant, high profile anyone, you're going to get screwed. They're going to rail you. Operational security means first of all, are you running a VPN? Ideally, you should be more than running a VPN. You should have two-factor authentication on every single account. When you are running an operating system, ideally, you should be running a virtual machine inside the operating system with a free OS that you can use as a sandbox to isolate it. Don't open images in DMs. Don't open emails from unknown senders. It's spear phishing. Don't click random links. Don't answer random text messages. Uninstall WhatsApp immediately.
Grant, I want you to repeat those last four slower for everybody. Don't open links. Go ahead.
Yes, don't open links. Don't open images. Don't accept emails from unknown senders. Importantly, uninstall WhatsApp. Okay, WhatsApp has a specific vulnerability right now where someone just with your phone number can hijack in and rootkit your phone just by having WhatsApp installed. Uninstall it now. If you're using other apps,
let me see if I even have WhatsApp. I don't think I have.
It should be uninstall it right now. It has a very serious security vulnerability that is not patched, in my opinion, that allows your phone to be rooted. You don't even have to click a link. Just a call will do it. You don't have to answer the call.
I don't have WhatsApp.
There are other apps for OPSEC purposes. One, I'm not a lawyer. This is not legal advice.
What else? What else should I not have?
That's basically it. Don't do illegal things. Okay, Signal it works.
Don't be suspicious, people. Don't be suspicious.
Yes, so Signal will work, but you should be aware that there's two vulnerabilities. One, there's something called Pegasus. Okay, Pegasus is a tool that's sold by a company called NGO. What Pegasus does is it's not like Cellebrite. Pegasus is a real-time monitoring software. Signal is pretty good. It does have a few vulnerabilities. The notifications are the biggest vulnerability. Those are not encrypted. They can be read. Okay, so just be aware of what you're doing. Third of all, there are other apps, I'm not going to mention their names, that do have more like stringent PGP encryption. If you need to communicate with a journalist, if you need to communicate with anyone, please do do not
do it
the government
way. Do it the old-fashioned way.
No, please, no, don't do that either. My advice, not legal advice, please do not send it by plain text via email. Oh my God, please.
No, I bet meet them for coffee.
Oh yeah, okay.
Meet
In
them
person
Lang's
is always
house.
Good.
Meet them in person at Lang's house and use their bathroom.
I thought you were talking about a letter. Snail mail, not good.
No. Go to Lang's house and use his bathroom. That's how you do it.
But that's hilarious. But the actual advice, secure drop. Okay, there's something called secure drop. Okay, or if you must use an encrypted email service, and I don't mean like Proton Mail. You run Tails, okay, and then use an actual PGP encrypted key and then send it that way. But ideally, don't bother. Just use a secure drop. Aaron invented it for a reason. Use it.
I guess
and journalists too. Let me give a very firm warning to journalists. Stop using email and text and unsecure apps. What are you doing? Use Secure Drop. This is serious work with serious consequences. I know not a lot of people know about it, but don't just send stuff over email. It's plain text. Anyone can get it, frankly.
Grant, you're also never supposed to get involved in a land war in Asia.
Yes, and French colonialism caused Vietnam, and also I'm pretty sure Iran won, but that really bothers me.
Never go against a Sicilian when death is on the line.
Yeah, don't go. I think general life advice is don't ever go against a Sicilian. Generally be nice to them, be friendly, be amiable, ask them about the old days. Just don't make them mad.
Great, that was from Princess Bride. Sorry, I'm dating myself.
No, and I feel bad. So I do pride myself on my movie watching, but I have not seen Princess Bride in a while. I did watch Angels in the Outfield the other day. That one was great.
Oh, that's not a bad movie.
Mm-hmm. Back when America had some Christian faith, damn it.
I have a new show I'm watching. I don't think I can talk about it on here, but I'll tell you in the green room afterwards. It's quite an amazing show.
I'm rewatching
So
season
it's on
1
the
of
BBC.
20. I'm watching season 1 of 24 right now. I'm reliving Jack Bauer's glory days.
Oh, glory days! Didn't Bruce Springsteen sing that?
You know,
Bruce is in the chat. Bruce is in the chat. We have a Bruce Springsteen fan in our chat. So
did you know you could have seen him for $4 with Bonnie Raitt at Harvard Square Theater in 1974?
And I'm sure Bruce fan that's in the chat. Sorry. What about Temu? Am I allowed to have a Temu app?
I would generally not buy products from communists. Just generally. That's just like it tends to be. So anything. Oh, here's the thing. None of you should be buying routers. Like you probably should read the DNI bulletin about routers in your home. Like, please do not buy foreign routers. Like, please, don't do that. Don't buy any.
I have AT&T. That's the only router I have.
Oh, we're good. Just don't buy any foreign tech. Like, don't buy like a USB stick from Temu. It's bad.
Make sure it's made in the USA is what you're saying.
Right.
Yeah, like generally if we could not buy things from communists, I'm not knocking like cheap prices, but like if we want to save the country, we gotta first of all know that it's safe, which means buying it here, but also like economically, if you all could like, you know, pay down a little bit of your credit card debt, maybe go out and buy some things at the stores, like, you know, that would be nice.
The Crystal Star, Temu, why? So I'll give you an honest answer on that. Mullins and I we go to the range a lot to practice on our accuracy with our Glocks. Is that all right to say that way on YouTube?
Go to the firing range is what you're saying.
And the targets on there, I can get targets. You know, they're paper. It's just paper targets. It's incredible. I can get 50 targets for like $3 on there. It's great. Yeah.
Well, can you buy them?
There are
can someone in America has to print these? It might be like $1.50 more for the pack, but I think we can do it. # Made in America.
Mm-hmm. You probably could. I mean, there are some things. So I guess all right. I'll back it off on the Temu.
And listen, I know a lot of people who were buying like really like good deals on Temu. And then I started to think about it, like, why are they selling these like really valuable pieces of tech for like $7? Oh, they're commies. And then I realized
not just that. How about the did you know that the cables that you buy, like the C cables, can download all of your stuff off your phone? The technology is in the cable.
Oh, you're not kidding with your...
Yes.
All right, so I didn't know we could actually talk OPSEC. So yes, that is...
And we can talk anything you want, Grant.
Okay, so there's certain levels of OPSEC where it gets to the point where like you're like they declassify some stuff, and we can talk about that. And so the cable thing is a good example. Like that USB cable or charger cable you think is inert, they can put a little chip in either port that will hijack that entire connection and then root your phone, and you'll have no idea it's there. Yeah. It's called an OSEC. It's called an OSEC exploit or O-Day, depending on how quick they get it out. Let me explain this to folks. So people think that they're protected because of an antivirus. Do you know what an antivirus is? An antivirus is a dictionary of existing MD5 hashes of existing viruses. You know what the problem with that system is, though? You better have you better have a damn good company that knows about. So the word OSEC means 0 second. It sounds redundant. It's not. There's another word called 0 day or O-Day. This actually goes back to the very early. 0 day. It goes back to the very early Whereas scene. A lot of people know the Whereas scene as torrents and stuff like that, but that's not what the Whereas scene was. It was a bunch of top sites, which are FTPs. And the way it worked is like the groups like would race between each other. And in that context, there was something called pre-channels. And so the pre-channel would say like, okay, Diamond released like this at this time, and then a pre-counter would start. If you got it within like an hour, you would have it like OSEC. And if you got it within like a day, you had it O-Day. Stuff would filter like from the top sites to the torrent sites to the public torrent sites to like the lowest level, which is HTTP downloads. It was a long time ago. I wrote an academic paper on it. Anyway, the point is it translated over into viruses. Okay. And what it means is you want to sell and buy viruses. Well, if you're a threat actor, people who examine this stuff want to identify what are called high-level threat actors that are operating what's called the zero-day space, so they can identify, they're called persistent threat actors, and you want to identify the like source code that they're using to run their exploits. Now here's the flaw: they have to sell it. They don't just deploy it. They have to find clientele like states or non-governmental organizations or just random people with money. And they're always selling stuff through tumblers on the blockchain. So it's very hard to trace. They'll go through exchanges in like Iran or North Korea. It's very hard to find them. And it's oftentimes like North Korea doing it. They have like Unit 821, I think. And then Iran has their own unit. Russia has their own unit. And what they're doing is they're buying pieces of code that anti-malware and antivirus programs can't detect. Now, the antivirus and the anti-malware wants to push updates constantly to ward off these persistent threat actors, but the reality is zero-day exploits and zero-sec exploits are a very valuable commodity, and they're rolled out constantly. You have no idea. Some of you probably don't even want to browse the dark web because all of your information's on there.
Nope.
Everything's on there.
Grit. I'm sure there's a good number of our cronks that want to know the answer to this question.
Mm-hmm.
If they're constantly getting phone calls saying that we're trying to finalize your loan for $20,000, you got to give us a call, and it's almost daily. What do they do? 4 times a day, right? 4 or 5 times a day. It's always Rebecca from the loan center, right? And I know what they do. You know,
So
right?
I'm not a lawyer.
So do we have to get a whole new phone and a new phone number?
No, and I'm not a lawyer, and this is not legal advice.
No, we just want to know what you would do.
Yeah, I don't get those kind of calls probably because the companies probably like have this list where it's like, don't call that guy. That's just not a good idea. But
don't call Grant.
But no, so I'm not a lawyer. This is not legal advice. You should look up the federal law that has to do with do not call. It's not like a concept, it's a law. You should look it up. There's a specific statutory provision, again, I'm not a lawyer, this is not legal advice, that entitles you to triple damages if you tell a company affirmatively, I'm on the do not call list, and then they call you again. I think now people say there's no such thing as magic words. Well, listen, I'm not a lawyer. This is not legal advice. You start saying the words, I'm entitled to triple damages. You violated this, and they're not going to call you anymore.
Well, I'm going to try that next time Erica calls me from the loan center.
But then I want to give another warning to our seniors.
What about Pixel phones?
Pixel phones are made by Google. They're known for having incredibly good quality cameras, but compromising on the tech in the phone. So what do you need it to do? If you need the phone for multi-threading, like multi-thread processing, if you're going to be running like 40 apps at once, like video editing, uploading to Canva, cutting, CapCut, you don't want a Pixel.
Oh, can I have Canva? Can I have Canva on my phone?
Well, if you have, it will work on a Pixel, but a Google Pixel.
I have the Canva. Can I have the Canva?
Oh no, that's fine. That's fine. Canva's good. But I'm saying,
good. What kind of phone do you have?
I wouldn't reveal that with bad OPSEC, but
top secret. Top secret.
Well, I mean, listen. Can you at least tell us? Does it start with a certain letter of the alphabet that might also be on your face?
It runs a very nice operating system that most humans probably wouldn't be able to operate.
Okay, so it's so all right, good. So I got a Samsung, so I have to say.
John,
But
when
on
are
the
we
on
going
the
to ask
Pixel-
Grant about the aliens?
But let me just finish on the Pixel, then I'll go to the aliens. The Pixel is worth it if you're like a rudimentary phone user who wants really good pictures. That's my advice.
Okay, tell us about the aliens.
Well, the best I can understand, and this is completely unconfirmed, I haven't read the alien files. It took me long enough to go through the Epstein files. I don't know how they want me to do the alien files. Too.
Oh, you can do the alien files. You mean the ones that were just released?
Yes, I don't know how they want me to do the alien
with
files.
with the little teardrop, the zigzagging all over the TikTok.
All right,
okay, go ahead. I'm all in.
Here's
with you.
the
Go ahead.
Here's the best that I can understand it. I have no idea whether this is true or not, and I'm not going to comment about where I learned this. The best I can understand is that most of what we know as unidentified aerial phenomena are unmanned drones. They're not per se of human origin. People think they're like from China. No, bro, no. From what I understand, again, completely unconfirmed, it's kind of like they're one-time use, and they're produced. This part is a little freaky. Again, do your own research. They're produced in like a mobile facility that is in the oceans. And the mobile facility, it really does not like being approached. If we approach it, it just is gone. I don't know if it's underwater or what. I didn't ask. I frankly don't want to know.
It's probably
but the point is, I don't really know. I would think maybe like one in the Atlantic Ocean, one in the Pacific, one in the Indian, one in the like Arctic Ocean, maybe. But the point
the thing is they can't defy the laws of physics.
No, I don't think they're defying the laws of physics by any means.
Course.
I think what it more is so we have this paradox. There's a couple paradoxes in like modern like math. One of them is dividing big prime numbers, like or taking the square root of them. The other one is what's called cold fusion. Now, what this means is, in layman's terms, I'm not a scientist, I'm a towel, creating a lot of energy from a small amount of matter. It's called cold fusion. If you could create cold fusion through like advanced technology, you could absolutely facilitate anti-gravitational movement. The question, though, is not, are they doing that? It's where are they? I think they've been here for a while in the water. And they do have like this capacity to send these drones out and look around. That's what they're going to tell us. The question is, are we ready to hear that? It's a little unsettling, frankly, but you know,
hey,
they seem peaceful.
Grant, are we on a round Earth or a flat Earth?
I would call it more of a sphere. That's why when you travel on a plane, you go on an arc. It's quicker that way.
So we're not flat Earths.
No, I can definitively say that and I know this to be true, if airplane travel is quicker on a circumlocuitous route, then we live on a sphere.
And
Grant,
what about
have we landed on the moon?
You want to know my theory about the moon? This is a good one.
Absolutely not. We have not landed on the moon.
I'm with you, John.
Not only did we land there, but we're a little skittish about it because we left plutonium there.
No. I think all that money is going into. I think all of the money going to NASA. I think that all of this NASA stuff is nothing more than special effects, and all that money is getting pumped into national defense.
You want to know the coolest thing I learned during the war?
What?
Yeah, go ahead.
All right. So remember how everyone made fun of Ronald Reagan for Star Wars? They called him Ronnie Reagan.
Yeah,
go ahead.
I remember.
Oh, he was more right than anyone knows. So Israel had this problem where they were firing up their interceptors. I was telling you a little bit about the Iron Dome. There's also another thing called Arrow and another thing called David Sling. None of them were working against these missiles. And Iran has some missiles that can really, like, I'm talking like 15,000 miles an hour, like with a 565 kilogram payload that will destroy an apartment building, like 10 of them, easy. Israel couldn't stop them. And their interceptors were just failing. It was brutal. they eventually deployed a laser-based interceptor system. I saw one video of it. The laser thing just I saw it with my own eyes. It shoots the lasers up, it hits the missile's gone. Now that's where we're going. Laser-based interceptors.
So you know what? Then Dr. Evil was right. Lasers. It's all about the lasers.
It's all about the lasers. And I never thought we'd get to this point.
Oh, you know what? I did because Hollywood always tells you 10, 15 years before.
Yes, that's my theory about the show Person of Interest. It was predictive programming to get us ready for the mass surveillance state.
It's not just The Simpsons. Everybody thinks it's just The Simpsons that predicts the future. It's not. You watch any of your movies.
So
people always ask me. Oh, go ahead.
I have one more question.
Yeah. Then we're going to get going. We're 2.5 hours.
What about zombies?
No, there's no such zombie.
I want Grant's opinion.
All right, good.
I mean, I like 28 Days Later. It's a pretty good movie, I suppose, 28 Weeks Later. But no, I think, unfortunately, zombies are probably mostly just a Hollywood fiction. Yeah. The alien's real. The birds are real.
But the zombies are out.
But Eric,
aliens real, birds real, zombies out.
You know what else is real, Eric? There's got to come a time. When asteroids, right? Not like whatchamacallit, not like Bruce Willis asteroid, but there's going to be these asteroids that are going to be coming down to Earth, and there's going to be certain people that are picked, okay, that due to their jobs, due to the money, due to whatever, there's going to be certain people that are going to be picked, and they're going to be notified ahead of the rest of us, just common folk, right? They're going to be notified. They're going to be sent off to an Air Force base somewhere that's going to take them to Greenland, right? Where they're going to ride out the storm while the rest of us all get blown up.
Maybe that's
why Tully, it's going to happen.
Maybe that's why Tully retired.
I'm telling you. I'm telling you it's going to happen. I just saw that movie. It's called Greenland.
You want to know what it's called?
Yeah, Greenland.
Continuity of Government. COG.
Yeah.
Speaking of that, I'll give you one parlor trick before we go. I know we've been going for 2.5 hours, so I've been practicing on my stream every day. I have a friend who loves Tippecanoe.
Tippecanoe and Tyler New.
Yep. So
yeah,
I have been practicing saying the presidents. I can only do like some of them, but I've been practicing saying them in order, and I would like to show you all my new trick.
Wait, hold on. Let me know when you're ready.
Okay.
All
right, ready?
Yeah.
All right. President Washington, President Adams, President Jefferson, President Madison, President Monroe, President Adams Jr., President Jackson, President Van Buren. Skip forward 9, 10, 11, 12, 13 is Fillmore. Then we pick up with Tippecanoe and Tyler 2. So that's going to be Polk, Taylor, Pierce, Buchanan, Lincoln, Johnson, Grant, Rutherford B. Hayes, Garfield, Chester A. Arthur, Cleveland, Harrison, Cleveland, McKinley, Teddy Roosevelt, William Howard Taft, Woodrow Wilson, Harding, Coolidge, Hoover, FDR, Truman, Eisenhower, Kennedy, Johnson, Nixon, Ford, Carter, Reagan, Bush 1, Clinton, Bush 2, Obama, Trump, Biden, Trump. How about them apples?
How about them apples?
Kudos to you. Oh, hold on a minute. Hold on. I know I have this for you. Here we go.
And final question.
Hey, I got
65 days of coverage. In the middle. We're doing 12 to 15 hour shows. What's the longest show you've done?
24 hours straight. The first day of the war. I was so concerned about the way the bombs were falling and how fast they were falling, especially on Israel and Tehran and everywhere in that region. I was intent on documenting every single one. And I should tell you, I've been following the wars in that region since 2023. I was so concerned about the civilians. There was a famous conversation I had with a Boston Globe reporter on the steps of the Karen Reed trial, the first one. This guy looks at me and he's like,
how do you do this every morning? How do you just get up and come here at like 3 a.m. and hang out? I'm like, bro, I get up at 3 a.m. every morning because I monitor the developments in South Lebanon and Yemen. This dude looks at me and is like, why do you do that with this like pretentious, like Boston Globe like attitude? And I'm like, well, because my colleagues are there and I'm worried about their safety under the bombs that are falling. And he kind of paused, took stock, and was like, oh yeah, I guess that's a good reason. And then we just moved on with our lives, but it's true. And now the journalists at Al Jazeera follow me. I mean, they have for a while, and I'm quicker than Al Mayadeen and Al Mana and Al Arabia. And not, please, I'd blow CNN out of the water. They couldn't compete with me on like their best day. So anyway, I'm changing news. I'm grateful for the opportunity to do it. I'm really worried about the civilian populations and save the damn goats. We tracked a herd of goats that got displaced from southern Lebanon and was forced to march through Beirut on March 9th. We look at videos of them every day. We don't know where they are. We want our goats safe.
I saw a video of a goat that the family lost, and it hooked up with like this herd of elk. And now the goat's just living with this herd of elk. Honest to God. I'll show it to you later. Grant,
I'm a big fan. I'll show it on my street.
Yeah, great. Oh no, it really happened. Grant. So one more time before we go, let's let me put this back up here for you. Tell us the deal with your law school one more time for the people that are still here.
Oh right. Oh, so I worked really hard to get through law school from 2022 through 2025 due to of various things. I had to miss one final, and so I had to make up the class, and that tuition, which I thought would be paid, was not paid. I have the opportunity to graduate this week, actually, but I just need to raise a little bit of money to pay this tuition. I hope and I pray the school will allow me to graduate with an outstanding balance, but I'd still like to make diligent efforts to pay them. And then I'll be Towel JD when I graduate, but once I pay the balance that I owe, which is about $5,987, which you can help me pay on the GoFundMe, I'll really be Towel JD. I'm not going to practice law, but I might teach. Thank you.
Grant, if you teach, right, are you the type of person that down the road you will give back? Like once you find yourself in a little better position, will you do the same?
Oh yes, absolutely. So I already on my live streams will donate from time to time, but I want to make one more announcement.
No, I mean down the line. I don't mean from your live streams. I mean like like about 5-10 years from now, when you're Grant and you're teaching and you're doing well, you're gonna pay it back to someone else because of right now there's different people that are paying it forward to you, right?
Yes, of course. And the way that I hope to do so, which is an announcement that I've made on my stream, but I'll tell your viewers here, is I would like to help by becoming president of the United States. I think I can do it. I would like to help this country.
I'm not voting for you.
No, in time, I hope to convince you all that is the best way.
Wait, you know why I won't vote for you?
Why?
You know what? Because you would probably allow me into the White House to visit you. And anyone that's allowing me into the White House should not be president. Okay.
No, you're going to love this. I'm reverting the White House back to exactly as it was in October of 1963. I'm putting the pool back in the press room. We can go for a swim. And I'm going to smoke blunts throughout the entire term. And when people complain about it, I'm going to be like, Dave freaking voted for me. You leave if you got a problem with it.
Do you believe in term limits?
For Congress, absolutely. We have a ridiculous system.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, Grant, you're not corrupt enough. We've already. I know. Oh, Grant, I know you can do the presidents now. So the next time you're on, all right, we're gonna give you homework. You have two options. The next time you're on, you can either give us the presidents, but you have to do it in the Animaniacs, in the version of Animaniacs. Or you got to give us the countries in the version of the Animaniacs. You got.
All right, I'm gonna watch.
Okay.
I'm going to compel Towel Girlfriend to watch the Animaniacs just so I can prepare for this. Yes. I've only seen a little bit of it, but I'm ready.
Okay. Yeah. I mean, I know you can do this, and I believe.
Also, I would be
believe in you.
remiss. Sorry, I would be remiss. Towel girlfriend's gonna watch this when she wakes up in the morning. I just wanted to say she's wonderful and beautiful and the smartest person I know, and she
Aw.
makes my heart sing. And I just think she's great. Hi, towel girlfriend. You are a towel and wonderful.
You're a
and
liar.
beautiful.
You're a liar because Mullins is the greatest. So now you're already lying. Eric, this is where you're supposed to say yours is. Now we're both lying.
I'm gonna just,
Oh,
we're about to wind it down.
Yeah, we are going to wind it down. Before we let Grant go, I do want to pull up one thing. It's quick news. It's my petty news. I have quick petty news to give everybody. Hold on, let me pull this up real quick. There it is. Anyone that knows me, I'm still battling the town with different information requests. And so a couple months ago, there was an information request that I sent to the town asking about if, you know what, we're just going to put it out there. If Tim Albert had ever bought the extra barrels, okay, in order to get extra barrels in the town of Canton, you have to actually submit a request. Then they decide whether or not your household is worthy of the request. And then it's $65, $75, depending on if it's a trash or recycling barrel. All right. I did the FOIA requests, and for a little while, he moved those barrels, and you never saw those barrels out front anymore because he was tipped off to it. And it just kind of just went by the wayside. And the town has no record of him ever asking for barrels. He's never paid for extra barrels. And yes, some are recycling barrels. And yes, it's great to recycle, but it's also great to pay the town the $75 for the recycling barrel. All right. But a couple of them. So, you're looking at $150. So the barrels are back over there across the street from the police station. If you see them, they're actually on the side street now. That's the church right across the street on Washington Street that you can see. So I just want to let everybody know about that. And we're still waiting to hear back from the state on Helena on how she's actually performing her duties as a special police officer. My feeling is it's going to come back that we're going to have a whole session on this where the town had gone to Bill Galvin asking him to make a bill and pass a law so that the town of Canton could use retired officers as special police officers doing details. He goes through all of the trouble to do that, gets everybody to vote for it, and then it looks like the majority of offices that do it don't go through the town, but they go through Norfolk County because it pays better. So it was a big waste of nothing.
No, I'll tell. Yeah. Oh, hold on. I think I might know what they're doing. There is, and I'm not a lawyer. This is not legal advice. There is a statute. If I recall, it was interpreted under Commonwealth v. Mullins from 1996. It's a statute for special state police officers. Now, what it does is it gives them criminal enforcement power in multiple jurisdictions. Now, it's supposed to be used for, like, an example would be like a college that has campuses in 2 different counties. Boston College is a great example. It has a campus in Boston and a campus in Newton. Okay, so their cops need to be deputized by a colonel of the state police as special state cops. Now, it might be that it pays better, but it may also be that they did or didn't realize, but they had a statutory mechanism the entire time to be designated as special police officers under whatever that is, 90. I want to say it's like.
Well, this one was more recent. This was just a couple of years ago that they had.
But they made a whole new law, only to go and only to end up using some existing pathway. And I'm just saying, you'll find that government bureaucracy does this all the time. They're not lawyers, so they're like, oh, we want to do something. They go through all this trouble. Oh, but bro, you could have just done this thing that already exists. Oh, really? Well, the consultants made a bunch of money. The lawyers made a bunch of money. The lobbyists made a bunch of money. Who cares?
Correct. So we're gonna once we get the request back from Norfolk County, on when she was sworn in and when she did her physical for Norfolk County, then we'll get back to you. But as of now, Canton has closed its request. Basically, they had no information at all for the fact that she didn't do anything through the town of Canton. So she did. So she's out there doing her details through Norfolk County and not through the town of Canton.
Oh, is this the chief that retired?
Yes.
Yes.
Ah, yeah, she's not the best driver, I heard.
Okay. Yeah, that went into what do you call that when they mediation? That went to mediation, and we probably won't hear at all on that case because it's no longer in the courts and went to mediation. So.
By the way, I just want to make one.
Grant, if I ask you this question, how long will it take you to answer it? Ask about Grant's paintings.
Oh, I can answer this in 30 seconds.
Go ahead.
Okay. Jeffrey Epstein's predecessor was a man named Adnan Khashoggi. He was like the 1980s version of Epstein. He got arrested for an art theft and extradited to the U.S. in May of 1992. Does that date ring a bell? Yes, it should, because 3 days later, his men stole the paintings from the Isabella Stewart Gardner Museum. They were going to use them as leverage to get a reduced sentence. They learned it from Miles Connor in 1975. When Adnan Khashoggi was found not guilty in July of that year, they didn't need the leverage anymore, and they kept the paintings. I want them back.
Okay. There you go. And with that, folks, that is the end of our show with Grant Smith Ellis. Eric, did you have fun?
I had a lot of fun. I'd like to also say special thank you to Mike Crawford of the Young Jerks for allowing us to use his content on our show. It's much appreciated, Mike. Thank you.
Next week, folks, we have a special guest next week. And it has to deal. I know a lot of our Kronks aren't just from Canton. This guest next week is all of Norfolk County, and we're going to get into some of the financials that are going on with Norfolk County. And no, it's not the treasurer or the auditor, but we're going to get into some of the things that there is a huge tie to Canton. There's a tie to Walpole, and we might need some of your help. If you live in one of the communities in Norfolk County, please come watch the show next week and tell your friends. If you got any friends in Norfolk County, come and watch that show.
And please vote for Adam. Oh, sorry. Please vote for Adam Deutsch. That's my closing remark.
I agree.
Yep. Oh, next tomorrow night. Tomorrow night's town meeting. Canton's town meeting. There's going to be some fireworks, folks. Tomorrow night, town meeting in Canton. So go to Canton Access Cable. I will not be able to stream it. I'd love to, but I know it's going to go till 10 or 11 at night. Grant, there you go. You're going to actually, Grant, I'll tell you off screen what's going to go on. And maybe if you want, you could stream it and have some fun with that. So folks, one last thing to donate to Grant. It's the GoFundMe. Help Grant achieve his law school dream. There you go. Thank you, and I did get a couple of donations privately. I want to thank them. I will thank them privately. And so we will see you guys next week. Grant, don't go anywhere.
Have a great night, everyone.
Good night, everyone. Hey, Grant, say good night to everyone.
Good night. Thank you all for watching. You're wonderful. The Kronks, I believe it is. God bless all of you, and thank you for allowing me to extol the virtues of an informed polity.
He's so sweet.
It's the Chronicles signing off with a flame, dropping names, spitting facts, shaking up the game. It's fire, it's grit, it's no holds barred. A mic in one hand, the town on guard. The truth hits harder than a Fairview brawl, and the Chronicles here to expose it all. From cover-ups to donut runs, we light up the night like Canton Suns. Next episode, yeah, we'll be back with more names, more